applying for. With me because I'll ask that you pay very good attention because I'll be running a little bit fast so that we can cover everything that won't covered. So we're talking about CV, resume, like it's supposed to be called. What resumes, it's usually a brief account of our education, qualification, and whatever makes us a good fit for any job that we're applying for. It's usually something that we send in ahead of ourselves so that the recruiters can take a look at it and invite us for interviews, hopefully. Where did this idea come from, where people send resumes? The very first person that we have on record that wrote something that looks like a resume was Leonardo da Vinci. We all know him for different things, but this was one thing that he invented. This was written in the form of a letter in 1482, whereby he wanted the patronage and support of a particular person, and he documented his experiences, skills, capabilities. Very interesting letter if you are able to find a way to read it somehow. This is a picture of it, very, very funny looking handwriting, but this is what our skills and qualifications, this is how we highlight them to recruiters in today's world. That's what we do every day when we're calling their attention to what we're able to do. In terms of why do we have to do this? Why can't we just apply for job in different ways? Why must we include a resume? A resume is very good in the sense that it captures the potential employer's attention because you know that usually when someone who has a vacancy, they're going to have a lot of people who are interested in it, and it's only when they see what they want in that job on your resume that they are attracted to you. So it's the thing that opens the door for you for you to be able to be invited for an interview in the first place. A lot of confusion comes up around CV or resume, which is which. Apparently, what we call resume is what we call CV is not what it should be. A CV is different from a resume in the sense that the purpose is different, the length is different, the layout. You usually use a CV in academia, medical, legal, and scientific world. Those are the kind of positions that you use CV for because they're quite comprehensive and you have to include your research, publication, academic, and professional activities. But what you and I use on a day-to-day basis are actually resumes, which is like a summary of your skills and experiences, which we usually say that shouldn't be more than pages long. And another thing that we find is that some resume or CV is also as a result of where you're talking about it. In the UK, Ireland, and Europe, for instance, and New Zealand, they call it CV, but actually what they're referring to is usually resume. In Australia, India, South Africa, they use both. They use CV and resume for it, but the preferred term is actually resume. In places like North America, you will hear resume most of the times or all the times. Let's talk a little bit about the statistics on resumes. What's the statistics on resume? There is a 75% rejection rate by ATS. That's the application tracking system. There's its rejection rates as a result of picture attached to resume, and there's a 76 rejection rate based on unprofessional emails put on these resumes. A little bit more about statistics. It takes recruiters only 6 seconds to scan at your resume. That is when they're looking at the first set of people that applied before they start really digging into it. That is ridiculous. Just 6 seconds. That's why your resume really needs to stand out from all the other people who are applying. What makes that difference between your resume and the resume of somebody else? It's actually what you put into it. Let's go into the tips about writing resumes. Your personal contact details must be in your resume. Believe it or not, I've seen so many resumes that the people forgot to put their telephone number or forgot to put their email address. And then you finish reading and you're like, so what do I do with this? When we're talking about the personal details, we also have to be very conscious of what we're putting in those personal details. Your telephone number, some people will put a number of telephones and you're wondering which one should I call. Some of them are not active and you're wondering what they're doing on their resumes. Please put only your main telephone number. Don't put your office telephone number. Let it be your personal telephone number. Same thing about email. Make sure it's your email, your personal email, your Gmail, Yahoo, or whatever you're using. Make sure it is not your official email because you might be out of that company by the time they're looking for you and you don't want to miss any important email. Be very careful about the kind of emails that you're sending out there. You won't believe it. I've seen some very ridiculous email addresses, sexygirl at yahoo.com, and you're wondering, and this is a job email address. Be careful what you're using. In terms of address, I see people writing their full addresses on their emails, on their resumes. You really don't need to write your full address. If someone is living in Lagos, Nigeria, for instance, just put Lagos, Nigeria on your resume. You don't necessarily have to write your home address, your telephone number, street number, and all that. You don't need it on your resume. As minimal address as possible. We have that part of our resume, which is the profile. Some people call it objective, some people call it summary. It's actually supposed to be a summary of your experience, your working years, your skills and achievements. Is more or less your CV, your resume in a very few words. We usually say that it shouldn't be more than 500 characters. Don't copy and paste because it's all over the internet. When you copy and paste, it doesn't make you unique in any way. When we say that recruiters only scan for 6 seconds, you can imagine what they're looking at. When they read those two, three, four lines, they get everything that they want to get in that first review. So make sure that that first part of your resume is capturing everything that they need to know in those 6 seconds. So always have that 6 seconds at the back of your mind because I see some people, they have that as half a page. They don't have that much time to look at it most times. Continuing on the resume tips, so we'll talk about the skills, competencies, and soft skills. Make sure that you highlight your skills and competencies in your resume. Where you put it matters depending on the kind of resume that you're writing. We're going to talk about two different types of resume. Clearly state your designation. I see a lot of resumes whereby the name of the company is so big and highlighted, and the designation, the position that the person was hired into, is almost invincible. That's the only thing that you need to highlight and bold in there so that they can see. If someone wants to quickly take a scan at your resume, what positions have you held? They can easily see those without necessarily what organization did you hold those positions. Yes, you're going to still put the organizations, you're going to put the dates and let everything be well aligned. Your achievements are supposed to be there as well. And when you're putting your achievements, make sure that you use monetary values for your achievements so that it is clear to everyone what we are talking about in monetary values. Arrange your responsibilities in order of relevance to the posting. Sometimes you have a posting that is talking about maybe training manager and you've held different positions, you've held the customer service position and all that. You may see a relevance between a customer service position and a training manager position, but it would do well for you if you're able to put the training manager responsibilities on top. And even under your training manager responsibilities, there's a way you will arrange the responsibilities in such a way that the most important thing are right on top. Something like managing vendor, and something like creating content for training, or something like training needs assessment. You need to know how to gauge what comes first, what is most important to this position, and you can take a cue from the job posting itself. Include all roles, including relevant volunteering roles. Sometimes people don't think that they should put their volunteer positions, but they might be the reason why you would get that job, because there might be transferable skills between something that you've done not for money necessarily and this job they were inviting you for. Explain every gap and overlaps. Don't leave the recruiter thinking about what happened here, you or for instance, some people are holding two jobs. Maybe one is full time, one is part time, and you see the same time overlapping, and you're wondering they were in this company at this time and they were also in this company. How is that? If you find your way to explain it, it will be clear to all. If you have a skill gap, whatever you were doing, were you training online, were you learning something different, please put it in there rather than putting a gap in your resume. Include only what you can defend. And I have seen it in real life where people come to interviews and you ask them questions, nothing outside the resume that they have presented, and they can't answer you, or they answer you and they're telling you something that you know that is definitely not true if they have handled it by themselves. That says a lot about your credibility, and it's not a good one for you at interviews. Let's talk about the keywords. So, if you are writing a resume, you should search for keywords in your career field, and or if you're applying for a particular position, try to search for keywords in that job postings and make sure that you include it in your resume, because the ATS is going to be picking on those things, the recruiters are going to be picking on those things, and that's what kind of attracts you like a magnet to them. Align the location, country, and sometimes organization. So your resume, sometimes you might look at the kind of organization that you're applying to and try to align it to it. It might be a location. The way they do resumes in Canada is different from the way they do it in Nigeria, for instance. So you may, depending on what your interest is and where you're applying to, you need to check what is done in that area and align your resume to it. Some people put future graduation dates instead of saying economic BSc economics 2026. It's better for you to put BSc economy in view so that they know that you're still running that program. You try to separate your education from your training, because sometimes it's confusing when someone is looking for someone who has a BSc in a position, for instance, and you did a certificate course. It's good to be very clear about it so that you don't mislead people. When you're listing references, try to do a maximum of three. Three is actually an overkill. If you do two, that will be good enough. And make sure that their email addresses are there, and choose them wisely as well as inform them. There's nothing as bad as your would-be recruiters reaching out to the references and don't they're not warm towards them. They're not like expecting them to call them, and they're wondering why you use them as your references when you haven't even discussed this with them. Grammatical error is the no-no in resumes, and you have to make sure that you proofread. There are a lot of things you can do while writing this email. You can check, proofread on Word and all that, or give it to someone else. And extra set of eyes wouldn't hurt your resume. Give it to someone else to take a look for you, and make sure that you proofread before you send it out. Make sure that it's not too long. We usually say to target 2 pages. If it had a very long career, it may spill to the third page, but usually not too long, and make sure it's not too short. I've seen resumes of half a page before, believe you me. Your resume name, the name of the file itself, be very, very deliberate about it. Some people use different names for their resume. Some people even use the names of the organizations that they applied for last for another organization. So you could make it as simple as Korede Adeleye dash lawyer. So whoever sees it, you can put resume in front, resume dash Korede Adeleye lawyer. Whoever receives it has an idea of what this is, who is it from. Use your name as the footer Oftentimes when people are processing your resume, that's not the only thing they're printing out. If they're printing it out, and in the process of handling it, they might lose some pages and they don't know who owns this one. But when you have a folder, they know which one to attach it to, and they won't be missing any of your pages. Be consistent in your formatting. Look and feel is very important. Make sure that the white spaces, like the margins around your paper, they're well aligned and they're the same. Make sure that the fonts are not any funny design. They're enough, big enough for anybody to see them, not too small, not too big, not fancy, just enough for it to be legible. Try to limit the details of your resume to 10 to 15 years. If you want to include your early career history, just list it underneath after detailing every other thing, if you must, if you think it's relevant to this. But usually do 10 to 15 years. Try to use AI and ATS friendly templates to make your resume stand out. You can't shortchange yourself. Some people say they did it with Chat GTI, but what I'll say is after doing that, sit down with it, customize it to personalize it. Because if Chat GPI does resume for 20 people, you're going to be seeing similarities amongst them. That's why you need to sit down and customize it to your own. Chat GPI will help you in the sense that there will be some keywords that are very relevant to your career field that they would have put in it, which will be attractive to ATS and recruiters as well. But at the same time, it's your responsibility to personalize it to yourself so that it becomes your resume. Try to align your resume, not try, you must align your resume to your LinkedIn page. When people go to your LinkedIn page, there's some people, you're looking at the LinkedIn page, you're looking at the resume, you're like, is this the same person? So you have to have the alignment between your LinkedIn page and your resume. And please get a professional review, even if you have to pay for it. It is worth it at the end of the day. Let somebody take a look for you and give you feedback. Things that you mustn't do on your resume. Please don't put pictures unless it is required. Like a cabin crew, for instance, they might tell you to put a picture. If they haven't requested for it, it's a no-no on resumes. You saw the number of resumes that are filtered out because of pictures. Don't put your age, your marital status, ethnicity, religion, or political affiliation. It has no business with your getting a job, unless, of course, if, let's say, for instance, the position is for a particular ethnic background because of what you're going to be doing with them, or maybe the Republican Party of USA is looking for a candidate to come and do something for them, and they insist that it must be a Republican. So those are different things. Apart from that, or you are a Muslim and a Muslim organization is looking for a Muslim to work with them, that will be different. But generally, don't put all these personal details on your resume. Don't put any irrelevant information, anything that doesn't have anything to do with that job, too much details about your hobbies and interests. People have put all sorts of things on their resumes and you're wondering why are they there in the first place? And it puts off the recruiter when they're like, what's this about? You don't need to put your salary details or history. Definitely don't need to. Dishonest statements are a no-no on your resumes because people are going to take you up on it at interviews and you're going to fumble at that interview. That's not what you want for yourself. Please don't bother. This is not like if you do it, anything will happen, but it's taken for granted that when people interview you and they want you to present references, that you make these references available. So reference available on request is either you put in the references there or you just take that out. There's no reason for it. Abbreviations, organization jargons, like I was working in an organization where I was in charge of the learning organization. It was called Towers Academy. If, for instance, I want to do my resume and I put Towers Academy and we have some different programs that we used to use a lot of abbreviations for, by the time I put all that in my resume, is will a recruiter who is looking at it from outside, who doesn't know anything about Towers Academy, who doesn't know anything about all the jargons we use locally, with are they going to understand it? That's what you should be thinking about. So don't do your resume as if you are applying to the human resources of your organization. Do it in such a way that it's generic enough for anybody to understand. Instead of saying that I was in charge of Towers Academy, I'll say that I was in charge of the Learning Academy or the Training Academy of the organization, which is a generic term. Don't repeat words. Things like manage, directed, responsible for are things that people repeat over and over in one resume. Try to be creative, try to use more descriptive words so that it shows them that you have put thoughts into this. Eliminates articles. They say that they don't make any difference on your resumes, and I've tried it severally. It doesn't change the meaning of anything that you're removing from, except maybe it's a title. In the body of a resume, A, N, and the, leave them there or take them out. They don't make any difference. They only save you space. Try to omit the pronoun R. This has been scientifically proven that when you do that, it has a psychological effect on the reader who is a recruiter now, because you are taking the attention away from yourself and you are putting the priority on them, which is a good feeling for them. Make sure that your resume is ATS compliant. Don't include lines, tables, funny designs, backgrounds, frames, all those things. They mess up with the ATS when your resume is being profiled or being handled. So please try to eliminate them. Use a simple down line by line design which doesn't have any tables or frames or funny designs, and you're good to go.
Awesome. Oh my God. Welcome back to day two, evening session of the Career Acceleration Summit. We look at what we're doing for you. I'm sure of God. Wow. I am going to go back. Okay. And take over and over again. I honestly think that's a very good advice. What you are getting in the Career Acceleration Summit is a 2 days intensive. And when something is intensive, it comes with a lot of punchlines that if you don't go back and watch it, you're going to miss it. Thank you, Mrs. Adeleye, for that amazing content on how to, write a compelling CV or resume. There's an individual video in the playlist on our YouTube page that has that full video. I want every single person to put it on their oh my God, to put it on their playlist. Can you imagine? I'm searching over that word. To put it on their playlist and ensure that they watch it over and over again. Review your CV, review your resume with everything that has been taught in that session. Welcome again to day two, evening session, and this is a good time to begin to share the live. Share. If you are yet to share the live, what are you waiting for? Is there a problem? Haven't you been receiving value? If you are, please make yourself visible. Let us know you are there. Tell us where you're joining us from, what city, and please do tell us what you do. This is Career Acceleration Summit, and this is the place where you take your next flight to career success. A quick place to also note is that you should register for this summit. There are a lot of you who are online and you are yet to register. What it means is that you are yet to drop your CV. Yes. And we need your CVs. Yes. If you want us to help you, to place you where you need to be, we need your CV. So I need you to do one more thing tonight as we jump into all of the sessions that we have. Get your water. What else do they need to get? They need their journals. You need your journals, your iPad, your writing material, and put yourself in a very comfortable environment. Chase away all distractions. And for those of you that probably have a B or a book, you're married, maybe you should get your partner.
Actually, grow together.
I'm telling you,
Yes.
Because a family that stays busy and is growing together grows in every way together. So we're going to be jumping quickly into our first session for tonight. We don't want to keep you too long on the live stream tonight. We want to take you through our closing ceremony. We want you to enjoy the panel sessions, but don't do it alone. I need you to do that. Can you do that? Get somebody into the room. I want us to drum up, to give you a thumbs up. I'm sending you love from the Career Acceleration Studio. So, can you introduce our first guest tonight, our first facilitator?
All right. With pleasure, I would like to introduce Mrs. Korede Adeleye. She'll be speaking on growth, emerging industries, and career opportunities. You want to know what the emerging career opportunities are out there for you to latch on and focus for your next career growth. So I'll be reading a profile shortly.
While she gets her profile, I hope you guys are ready for this ride. It's going to be truly, truly amazing. By the way, our session tonight has facilitators from 3 different cities in the diaspora.
Yes.
We have a facilitator from the UK.
Yes.
Mrs. Adeleye, Korede Adeleye is from Canada.
Yes.
And we have a facilitator from the US.
Yes.
So tonight it is a flavor of, if you know, you know. Some of you that are feeling the need to jump back.
Actually,
I'm not a fan of it,
Yeah.
but if that's your thing, this is the session where you need to sit down, grab your pen, and learn how it's done outside of the shores of Nigeria.
Yes.
It's to create you, to get the right tools to take it to the next level.
All right. With 20 years experience. She is a certified coach, speaker, and trainer with the John Maxwell Leadership Team USA and an ICF trained coach. Korede works as an independent HR consultant in Canada, as well as in the HR department of one of Canada's government organizations. She was senior manager, HR, head of HR, and managing partner at multinational organizations in different sectors of the economy. She has an MBA in HR management from University of Wales, United Kingdom, a diploma in applied HR management from the University of Manitoba, Canada, and is a professional member of the CIPM Nigeria, ICSA UK, and the CPHR Canada. Korede facilitates training sessions, and she is the author of a teenager book, Raising Responsible Teenagers. Can we give it up? That was
Come on
Can
now.
we give it up for Mrs. Korede Adeleye?
Come on now.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Welcome. Yes, we can hear you. Welcome. Thank you so much for having at the Career Acceleration Summit Studio.
Thank you for
And
welcoming
by the way,
me.
I forgot to mention, she's my personal mentor. She's someone that has mentored me over the years and I've learned so much from. You're welcome. I'm great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. Can you see the slides? Because I can see them. So trying to.
They are there. They'll put it on screen for you. It's right there, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're watching us from. And I can say that if you're watching, you're one of the people in the world right now who are deliberate about their career and their future. And I am one of you, because I told Folake earlier on that my Netflix and my Prime are going to take a break, because I'm going to binge watch the whole session all over again in the next 2 weeks. That's my myself. As
Yes.
we move on, we are going to be talking about spotlights on growth, growing industries and career opportunities. That's what we're going to be talking about. And they want me to do it in 3 stages: overview of the growing sectors all over the world, career opportunities in these growth sectors, and also highlight the skills that are required in these sectors. I can promise you that we're going to have a very good time. When we talk about sectors and labor market changes, we've heard disruption a lot of times, and this word has seemed to just come to stay with us. The thing is about disruption is going to continue. It's not going to stop. Why do we have disruptions? When there is a change in something happening in the world, when this affects the labor market. If, for instance, we start seeing a very high growth in technological companies, definitely we will need more people in IT, and then the demand in IT will grow up. When we have demand, we're looking for the very limited people that are available, and then the money that are waiting and willing to pay for this very scarce demand goes up. So that's what changes the labor market. And then the global industry is constantly changing, constantly being reshaped. We're going to touch on why this is happening very shortly. And then 23% of jobs have been said to change, expected to change in the next 5 years. That's starting from 2023. So we're looking at 23% change by 2028. Yes, 12.3% decline, which doesn't sound good to anyone, but at the same time, it's going to recover kind of. We have 10.2% growth, which is not bad when you look at the decline and the growth. People like us would wish that there is more growth than decline, but that's just what's going to happen in the world. What is driving this change? What are the factors driving this change? We have digital evolution, which is the fact that there is a cutting edge technology adoption all over the world. Everybody wants to do things better. Gone are the days of analog. You want to do it smarter, you want to do it faster, simpler, and you want to achieve big scope. There's green transition. A lot of things are involved in that. We're talking about climate change. We're talking about global warming, fossil fuel. So we're trying to make sure that whatever we're doing, be it manufacturing, production, we're doing it in ways that that is sustainable, so that we don't deplete this Mother Earth that we're all enjoying. So that is changing a lot of things and how things are going. We have economic changes. Inflation is all over the world. Grocery prices have skyrocketed. Housing has skyrocketed. People can't afford the basic things of life. All those are changing things. And as industries are changing, jobs are changing. Economic growth is not as fast as we expect it. And we have geopolitical changes. We can talk about that over and over again. We have all the things happening, wars everywhere in the world. Ukraine and Russia has not been finished. We have what is going in the Middle West. We have the election in America, which is affecting a lot of things and will affect a lot of things. We have the very trepid relationship between Israel and Iran. We don't know where that is going. We have the funny wars going on between China and America. And all those affect your job and mine, regardless of where we are in the world. We have population changes. The population changes in the last 5-10 years is ridiculous. As at this June, we hit 8.2 billion people on Earth, and it is projected another 2 billion we add on in the next 2 years. That is significant, and that is something that will change how things are done, how and where we see ourselves in the next God knows how long. Let me quickly take us into how this is affecting everything. I said that these 5 factors are the drivers of change. At the same time, we have a domino effect of some kind, whereby these things are changing industries, sectors, and jobs. At the same time, as they are changing, they are also changing themselves. We're talking about 10 fastest growing industries. I'm going to do an overview of the 10 fastest growing industries for us. And I'm going to show us how those are going to change these 5 aspects and how they're going to change themselves. One industry's change will affect the other industry's change and will determine the kind of job that we're talking about in the next 5 to 10 years. This isn't looking as a shoe to me. I don't know if it's showing well to you, but I'll try my best to quickly talk about them. We have healthcare, agriculture, AI, information technologies, cybersecurity as well. We have green and renewable energy. We have online tourism, online retail and e-commerce. We have tourism, transport and logistics, construction, and education. These are the fastest growing sectors of the world, and they are different things in different parts of the world. They are not just something you look at and you be like, oh, because they're going to be like this, if I'm in any part of the world, then these are the 10 fastest growing ones. Generally, these are the 10 fastest growing, and we'll see what that means for different parts of the world. Healthcare, why is it increasing? Of course, population is increasing. With that, we need more hospitals. With that, people are living longer. With that, we have more health issues. The more we live, as we're growing old, bones are cracking and things are happening. We need more doctors. We need more nurses. We need more personal care aides and everything that supports healthcare system. Agriculture, the same thing. We are growing in population. We need more food. We need to do it faster. We need to do it better. We cannot do agriculture the way we were doing it, whereby humans were the one tilling the ground, harvesting and all that. Now there's a lot of budget being put into agriculture. It is projected that by the end of this year, we would have a gross production of 4.59 trillion. Annual growth rate will now continue for the next 5 years in a little bit under 4%. That is a lot of investment in agriculture. And why is that happening? Production is growing, budget is growing, technology is growing. As everything is growing, we're talking about bee vectoring, we're talking about a very, very big hectare land where people can tell you every single spot of the land, what is going there and what part of the soil is not doing well. That is the world of agriculture today. So if you're a farm manager, you're a food scientist, you better start knowing what is happening technologically in that area so that you can know how you want to play. We have AI. I can talk about this over and over again, and we know that everything that we do now, it's AI and IT embedded. If you have a business and you don't know how to put IT in it, you're not going to be around for a very long time. There's a lot of investment in it. Private investment alone, not even government, is at 25 billion as at 2023, says Stanford University Research. You can imagine what that means. It's touching retail, finance, healthcare, manufacturing. Every aspect of life is being touched with AI. If you're a programmer, especially someone who knows Python, computer scientist, data analyst, software engineer, this is your world and you should know what is happening there and how you want to play there. We have IT and cybersecurity, of course, with everything that is happening. People are more IT inclined. We have with the geopolitical changes happening. We hear about some nations being cyber attacked by other nations. People want to know intelligence. They want to know what their enemies are doing. With all that, we need people who can monitor and help us to bring cyber attacks down. We need people who are very, very vast in cyber security. As we're talking about people working from home, people working from different locations, you are not using the firewalls of your organization again. So that means your organization's data and everything is shared online. We need to be sure that all these things are safe. That's why we need more of those people to create, to make sure that the world that we're living in and how we do business and how we buy things, how we work and do everything is secure. Green and renewable energy. This is an area that a lot of investment is going into, be it government-based industries. And with changing generation, 43% of the world right now is Gen Z and Gen A. And you know that for whatever reason, this generation are very keen about renewable energy, not adding to global warming. Somehow, some of them blame us, the older generations, responsible for what's happening. So they're trying to do better, which is a good thing. So a whole lot of people, they will tell you that when you go to some shops, you will see that this has been sourced in a green way. This soap that you want to use, we did not kill any animal in the process of getting it. This hair cream that you want to use, there was no animal testing. You know, all those things are now things that matter to people, and they will matter as we continue. People will continue to be more interested in it, because who doesn't want a sustainable world? We are all afraid that our generations to come will not meet a good world, and we want to make sure that that is good. If you're someone who is into this business, or you are interested in this business, you better start finding out what is happening in green energy. A lot of money is being pumped into it. Online retail and e-commerce. Now we can buy virtually anything except children online. We can order for anything anywhere in the world, and it will be delivered to our homes. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we did not have this, and it's going to continue. It's going to get worse. Well, the pandemic even helped us to kind of put that 10 years ahead of itself. Businesses that were brick and mortar, they had to go online, as we're in for 2 years or thereabout, that we couldn't enter any shop to buy anything. So with that comes the different kind of jobs, like website creators who will help people to monitor their websites, customer service agents, because as you have this kind of things happening, there will be issues. I ordered something, they charge my card twice. I ordered something, I didn't receive it, I received it damaged. There is going to be a lot of jobs created in that loop. Logistic managers, supply chain, and this is going to affect the transportation and logistic industry as well. Another growing sector is the tourism. During COVID, yes, it took a very big hit, but you won't believe that it has really, really picked up again. As at 2023, they said that there were 27 million travel association, according to Travel Association and Tourism Board. They said that 27 million jobs were created in this tourism world. And when we're talking tourism, we're talking hotel, we're talking travel, aviation, you're talking casino, you're talking different things. So it has picked up again. If you think, oh, tourism, because of pandemic, maybe if it happens again, what will happen? People in tourism are thinking technology. They're thinking, what if another pandemic happens? How can we keep this industry going? If your job is in that area, that is what you should be thinking about. Of course, all the things that we're doing is going to affect transportation and logistics. It's driven by population. The more people, the more commodities that people need, the more services that people need. So the logistics business is going to continue. People want to move stuff. When you order everything online at the comfort of your home, when you pay for them, what happens? It has to come to you. So these people, regardless of whatever is happening, they have to keep moving. They have to get things to us from one part of the world to the other. We're talking of a lot of investments in agriculture. By the time all those things are harvested, if we are harvesting at this level before, because of technology, we are moving it up to 10%. What that means is that 10% more things need to be moved. 10% more things need to meet the people that need them. And that is how it will affect that. Construction, definitely when you have a growing population, people need houses, people need schools, they need to go to libraries, factories, they're going to work. So construction business has to continue. They're going to move on the roads. So we need to build more roads. 20 years ago, 70 years ago, countries that had maybe one major road, two major road, they will realize that the population has increased and they need way more because they need to do a network of more roads. That means we need more project managers, we need more health and safety managers, technologists, and all the trades in construction. We need more of them as this industry is growing and budget is being thrown into this industry. As we have more people, we realize that people are getting more educated. Gone are the days of if you have school search, you're good enough and you can get any job. It's getting increasingly more competitive, whereby at one point when you have an MBA, it's looking like pure, like it's basic. Now we have more people that have PhD than ever before. Even if it's not masters or PhD, we have more people getting a first degree than before. So what that means is that if your area of interest is in education, start thinking of how you are going to embed technology into it, because that is what is making a lot of sense now. We're talking about taking education to parts of the world, third world countries who did not have anything to do with this before. Now they have tablets that are being done in developed parts of the world, being taken there such that they can use solar to get educated no matter where you are. So if you're a teacher, if you're an early child educator, if you're a lecturer, an instructor, if you're someone who is technologically good in creating online content, or how to convert, all those, the language about how to convert a presentation into online format and all that, this is your space and you need to grow in that space. Job opportunities in this, there are so many that I've mentioned, and this among, we have AI machine. According to World Economic Forum job report of last year, they said that these are the 10 jobs that will grow, that will be fastest growing in the next 5 years. And this is a lot. Robotics engineering, if you look at them, you see that they align with the 10 fastest industries, because a whole lot of things is sitting behind technology. And you see that there's a lot of technological, agricultural things around here. And then they're looking at some growth in the next 5 years. This is how some of these jobs will grow. 40%, we're talking EV, everybody wants to buy an electric vehicle or a hybrid vehicle. So engineers, specialists who are in this area, they're going to grow. Their job is going to grow by 40% in the next 5 years. Anyone who is in the AI or machine learning world, their job is going 40% in the next 5 years too. Environmental protection professionals, their job is going to grow about 35% in the next 5 years. Sustainable energy, fintech, analysts, we're looking at more than 30% growth. And also because of transportation growth and logistics, we're going to see some growth, about annual growth for the next 5 years in vocational, bus drivers, and heavy trucks. But honestly, between you and I, this list of growing industries and growing jobs, how useful is it really to us when we look at it? We've attended so many sessions like this, or we can Google them and we'll see this list. But in terms of how do we bring it home? What does it do to us? It's as good as the paper it's reading on if they're just listed. So it's not really a very, very useful list to us. Knowing the industries and knowing the jobs is not is good information, but is not just enough to know. You can, what I've just shared with you, it's public knowledge, you can get it anywhere. The $1 million question for you and I is, how does this accelerate my career personally? How does it accelerate your career personally? And is as useful as how you align it to your person, your location. Where are you operating from? What is your interest? What are your skills and your competences? What are your objectives and your goals? And I'll kind of bring it home a little bit for you. I'm saying this, I'm saying it's not useful to you because if you look at the 10 fastest growing industries, if you look at the fastest growing industries, or let's say the industry that has contributed to the growth of the GDP in my country, Nigeria, in the first quarter of this year, you will see that maybe 6 or 7 of the fastest growing global industries are here, which is a good representation. Agriculture, information, trade, and all that, they're all here. But it's not the same thing for everybody. It's not the same list of the 10 fastest growing industries that has contributed to the GDP in Uganda. It's not the same thing for South Africa. It's not the same thing for America. It's not the same thing for Europe. It is relative depending on where you are and where you're operating. Let's look at world and let's look at regional. If you look at this, they have divided into three: agriculture standing by itself, industry standing by itself, and services. Services encompasses a whole lot out of that 10. If you look at the global one, you see that services cut across for the last 10 years, between 2013 and 2023. And if you look at regions, we're talking North America, East America, we're talking Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, and the Arab world. the same set of information, but as it relates to this region. I'll pick on something, for instance, if I'm an agricultural person and I hear that, yes, agriculture is one of the 10 fastest growing industries in the world, and I have told myself that I must relocate. Everybody's relocating to, developed nations, and I want to go into a developed nation. Can you look at what agriculture is contributing? Let's say I want to go to North America. Agriculture is contributing 1.01% to the GDP of North America. Is that going to be a lot of help? It depends on what I want to do in agriculture when I get there. Yes, there's a lot of budget going into it in North America because they want it to grow. But how well will it grow and what is its contribution? Compare that. I'm going back. Compare that to Nigeria, where agriculture is contributing 21.1%. In depending on which area of agriculture I want to play in, shouldn't I be looking at what is happening in this Nigerian agriculture sector? Where can I play? What is if it is contributing 21.1%, and the other things are contributing 17.9 all the way to 2.5? Do I really need to go to North America to do what I want to do in agriculture? It depends. And we'll talk a little bit more about, so how do I know? What do I do? I answered this question a lot. I say it depends a lot because yes, it really does depend. What kind of person are you? What are your interests? What are your competencies? What is your ikigai? What are you living for? I love that Japanese concept very well, which means a reason to live. Personally, what do I want to be? If I know all the skills required in all industries that are growing, what does that do to me? Am I going to develop skills in all areas? It's not going to happen. We know what they say about the jack of all trade being the master of none. I'm not going to be jumping, oh yes, they said this skill is good today, I go learn it. They said that skill is good tomorrow, I go learn it. I'm not going to move in a way that makes sense. The skills are unique, they're individualized, so you have to personalize it or ikigalize it, as I like to say. It's not about what you know that matters. We've all heard that saying. It's about what you do with what you know. I'll tell you a story. And before I tell you the story, I'm going to emphasize the fact that we've had 2 wonderful days of information loading, very loaded information. The few sessions I've joined, the very loaded information, useful information, I must tell you, but I must also say that they are dormant information. Dormant in the sense that they are as good as what you do with them. When you have information and you take deliberate action on this information, that is what causes acceleration in your career. Are we going to attend the session same old, the same way you attended one session last year, 6 months ago, and we're still here and we haven't changed, we haven't done anything? What is this session going to matter to me and you in the next 6 months, in the next 12 months, in the next 1 year, 10 years? Are we going to invite you again for this session and you come, oh, yes, I was here last year, and you are taking record and nothing has changed? Or are you going to do something with it? If you want to forget everything I've said up until now, I want you to listen to me and pay attention from now onwards, because the rubber is going to meet the road. We're going to make all this information, not just my session, every session, Tega, Tomioni, every session, Bidemi, every session you've had that you've had the opportunity of listening to. If you haven't, please, like I said, go back to all those sessions and use what I'm going to teach you now to bring everything together for your own good, because that's the whole essence. If you don't like where you are, move. You are not a tree. I saw this about some years ago on LinkedIn. I just stumbled on it. And it never left me. It haunted me day and night because I was in that position where I didn't like where I was. I felt unfulfilled where I was. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't as if I wasn't doing well. People will tell me I'm doing well. People wanted to be where I was, but who are you measuring yourself against? What is your definition of success? Is it what the other person thinks is success? You have to define success for yourself. You have to look at the picture of yourself in your mind that you had as at this time, the picture of your future self that you had, and you have to measure yourself with it and see if it measures. If it doesn't measure, it's on you to do something about it. This statement changed my life. If you don't like where you are, move. You are not a tree. And I'll tell you a story about myself. And I'll tell you in Star Approach. I'm an HR person. We like Star Approach a lot. So my situation was I had MBA in HR already from the University of Wales. It was good. I had a 20-year career going for me. I was a member of CIPM. I was at one point the VP of Research and Publication at CIPM. I had a very good network. I was a member of ICSA UK as of 2004. I was a senior manager in a very big company. I had associate director in the Horizon. If I had stayed, the company was a top company. It was a unicorn in Africa. It's listed on the New York Stock Exchange, operating in 12 countries, 4 continents. I said it was good. Well, I wanted more. I was comfortable, but I wanted more from life. And that's where I'm coming from. That's what is the definition of success for you? What are you looking at? Are you looking at other people? Are you looking at what the motivational speaker is saying? Or are you looking at a picture that you had in mind for yourself? If you don't have a picture as of today, it's never too late to create a picture. But what was the task ahead of me? I lacked fulfillment personally within me. It wasn't as if I wasn't appreciative of everything I've acquired at that time or achieved, but I wanted more because of what I said for myself. What did I do? I started researching just like you. I had the resources. I had opportunity to know about different things happening in different parts of the world. Just like we're giving you information today, I use those information well. I research, I connected with people who have done what I wanted to do. I connected with people that I didn't even know. I reached out to some people on LinkedIn. Some responded, some did not respond. Some were very, very helpful in giving me information, somebody that they didn't know from Adam, giving me information that I needed, and I was able to plan my relocation to Canada. Surprise, because I'm not one who, like Folake, who wasn't crazy about relocation. So it was so bad that when I tell people that I had relocated, they'll go shocked that really I never saw that coming, But I had to do what I had to do for myself. I went back to school. I went for an advanced human resources program at almost 50 years of age. I became a CPHR Manitoba member. I'm still going. The next step for me is full CPHR, which I'm going to achieve by God's grace. The result for me is I secured a good government job, which I couldn't have imagined. Funny enough, this is 1 year, 6 months, and a little bit. I have 2 promotions already. And I can tell you, fulfillment-wise, peace-wise, I've got it. Doesn't mean that I'm going to stay there. I'm restless to some extent. I'm going to move on. So enough about me. Let's talk about why am I talking about this. We have talked about industries that are growing. We have talked about jobs that are growing. Now, I'm going to use some career development steps to help us to create career acceleration goals. At the end of the day, that's what we want to achieve here, right? We want to accelerate our career, what we have taking us to where we want to go. So let's go there. So this is like a simple sample of career acceleration plan. And I've taken some assumptions here. I'm sorry, this isn't showing as a shield. And I don't know why. Excuse me, trying to say what is happening here. If you'll give me a minute. I would love you to see this. If it is not showing, then I'll see what we can do. I'm so sorry about this. Let me see what I can do in a few minutes. I'm trying to reload it to see whether you'll be able to see that page, because that page is very important to what I want to talk about. But if we don't get it, no worries. I'll just keep going. It's uploading, it's processing. Processing. I'm sorry about this. And we are almost there. Is it showing the one that's not? Okay. You know what? I'll just go ahead and speak to it. I do not know why this is happening. I think it's the StreamYard thing because it's right here. I think it's StreamYard that's not recognizing it. So I will see if I can just upload the Excel file itself. I think because it's coming from Excel, StreamYard is having a problem with it. Yeah, that's what's happening. So I'll speak to it, don't worry. So what I did here, we can share it later, is as a person, you're going to look at everything that has been said. You're going to look at all the industries that we have talked about, growing industries, and you're going to look at, let's say, for instance, I'm taking some assumptions here. I'm one who is an IT person, or I'm interested, we've talked about what is your ikigai, what is your interest, what are your competences. You're going to do a little bit of assessment of yourself. And the assessment is, what are my identified interests? Assuming that this person, my identified interest is that I've got decent saving. You're going to talk about your strengths, your interests, and your competences. This person has decent savings and desires to explore opportunities in developed nation, global opportunities. This person desires to secure the future, and this person has 12 years work experience, good IT skills, good certifications in IT. This person has Python, PowerShell, SQL, Bash, and Java. So this is the profile of the person that I've taken as a sample. What interests me? That is the next question. I am not a big fan of coding. Luckily, you don't need coding for everything in IT. And I am not a big fan of the medical line. So yes, we have said that the medical line is growing, but this person is saying that, count me out. I don't like blood. I don't like to prick people. So definitely, even if the medical line is growing as he wants to grow, you're not going to find me there, except if I'm working in the IT department of the medical line. So I'm giving you different aspects of it that you can't, because of that, close an industry, because the core of the industry is not what you want to do. It depends on where do you want to play. That's why I'm saying that this thing has to be personalized. Where do you want to play there? What are my weaknesses? I procrastinate. I don't like to take risks. These are my weaknesses. I have to document all this to be able to know how do I want to accelerate my career. What industries opportunities align with me? The industry opportunities align with me are North America, IT industry, because it is growing tremendously, and because I want to explore opportunities. Canada is looking for immigrants, and they say that there is a new system where they're kind of attracting people in medical line, construction, and IT. That's an area for me to look at. That would help me to carve a goal, career acceleration goal for myself. What do I want to achieve? What's my goal? For this person, I said that to relocate to Canada to work as cybersecurity specialist in IT industry. That is a clear goal. What do I want to achieve? By what time do I want to achieve it? We'll talk about it later. Precisely where, what location, because the location will determine what steps I should be taking. What do I need to achieve this action plan? We're talking about this profile now. So for this person to achieve cybersecurity job in IT industry in Canada, I need to research the industry, specifically Canada now to understand what is happening there, what jobs are there, what skills are required. I need to acquire cybersecurity certification because it might be something that is locally, that you need a local certification for you to be able to do that. I need to acquire high English test because for relocation, you will need the English test. I need West evaluation of all my credentials and degrees and all that. I may decide to learn French because it's an added advantage. It's a second language, second official language in Canada. I will have to convert my resume to Canadian style. It's differently done. So what style and what kind of jobs am I applying to? I should start going to Canadian companies, looking for people there, networking with people there, asking questions, showing myself visibility in those areas. I should start doing that right now. I should start applying for jobs, and I should start the process of relocation. Do I want to do LMIA? Do I want to go through when an employer recruits me first? Or do I want to start creating an express entry profile? Do I want to go through the work permit route? Those are the kind of things we're talking about. The next question is, what support do I require to achieve my goals? Of course, I need funds. I said I already have funds. Where are my funds? Where are they tied? What do I need to do? I need application. I need to do the IRCC application. I need tickets. I need accommodation, feeding. I need a career advisor to make sure that this plan that I have for myself, it makes sense to everybody that is looking at it. I need an immigration consultant, maybe, to help me, go through this process. What skills do I require? You see, we were going to talk about the skills required, but we need a lot more than just the skills required. A whole lot of things will help us to dovetail to the particular skills because I already have a goal for the particular goal that I want to achieve. Now we can start talking about skills. It's easier for us to look at what is missing from what I already have now. IT skills, research skills, form filling skills. Canadian forms are a lot to fill. English test and, networking skills. Those are skills that I need. That's minus other things that I will need to get into these jobs. What are the likely difficulties that I will encounter and how do I overcome them? I need to understand in the international job market the trends, what's happening, what's going to happen in the next 5 years. I should have all those information. Now we've given generic information. You're going to go into Canadian industry and look at the things that you need to do. What background checks do I need to operate in cybersecurity? And what do I need an approval? Do I need local IT certification? And all those things. How will I know that I've achieved my goals? We're getting there. If I relocate to Canada in the next 2 years, I'm already in Canada. I'm holding the position of cybersecurity manager at RBC Bank. Yes, I would say that I've achieved it. I'm giving myself 24 months. When is it starting? October. When is it ending? October 2024 to 2026. How often do I want to review? I want to review it monthly. And who will be my accountability partner? I've decided my friend who was my friend who was my colleague and an IT guru as well will be my accountability partner. What do I want to reward myself with? These are my own way of motivating myself. I want to reward myself with a brand new car in 2027. If I'm working as a cybersecurity manager, I believe I should be able to afford that. And that's what I want to do. And I did put a motivational quote. That's how I do my own. I said that all mankind is divided by 3 classes: those who are immovable, those that are movable, and those that move. That's a quote by Benjamin Franklin. So that is how we achieve success when we have an information and we transform that information. Key takeaways: your career is in your hands. Your growth is not going to be magical. You have to make it happen. The opportunities abound, the jobs are growing, the industries are growing, but you have to make it happen for yourself. How do you consolidate this into an accelerated career for yourself? Knowing what you know is not enough, and you can never say it's too late for you to start something new. Keep growing, keep knowing the information, but use it to accelerate your career. Take action today, this weekend. Draft a plan for yourself. What have I achieved with this 2 days of attending the session, and what am I going to achieve with it? Deliberate actions taken on useful information is what will bring that career acceleration that we're all talking about. I wish you well, and I thank you for listening to me.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm speechless. I honestly haven't had it this way in a while.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you so much. Honestly, sincerely, I personally am grateful. I will ensure that I write my career acceleration plan.
Yes.
I'm hoping we can maybe share it with you if I have other people like me
Yes.
who like to hold ourselves accountable, because profoundly you said it's not just the information that you have, but what you do with what you know. That is what is going to make the huge difference. And I love the style approach that you used. And I love the fact that you were very authentic. You showed us, how you moved from point A to point B, which inspires every one of us to know that it is possible, it is doable, we can achieve it, and we're truly inspired. We want to say a very, very big thank you. This is our coach's coach, and we're not surprised at the outcome. We're so proud of you, and we commend you. Thank you for adding so much value to this summit. Can we please make it rain in the chat room? Like, I'm practically having goosebumps. Like, for a while, those in the studio can bear me witness. I just held my head in my hands like, Israel, what have you been doing with your life? Thank you. I've been challenged. I've been inspired. And I assure you that if no one gives you results from this session, I assure you that I would give you a session. I'm sure a lot more people will give results moving forward. Thank you so much. We can't wait to have you back in the panel session in the short while from now. Thank you so much once again. This is Korede Adeleye. You have added so much value. You delivered 100%. And we're so proud of you. Thank you very much. A round of applause one more time for her, please. Clapping all from here. Wow, I can feel the energy and the heat in the room. Like, is this AC working, guys? All right, so our next speaker is already backstage, and we cannot wait to bring him on stage. He's someone I know personally, and he's someone I'm also very, very proud of. Like my CEO earlier said today, all of our speakers tonight are joining us live from different continents of the world, which affirms the fact that the Career Acceleration Summit indeed is a global conference.
Yes.
Ms. Adeleye is joining us from Canada. I didn't get the beautiful city where she's joining from. I'm sure Bidemi is also joining us from the United States of America. Yes. And Elizabeth will be joining us from the United Kingdom. So it's a full suit and a full complete package we've got in the room tonight. Tineke, can I stop talking? Do you have anything to say?
So the part where you said it is about what you do with what you know.
Absolutely.
Made me remember the story of the talents in the Bible. When they gave 1 5, they gave 1 3, and they gave 1 1. Look at the one that they gave 1 talent, what he did with it. What they gave 5, what he did with it. So the information you know.
Wow.
What are you doing with it? So this information, I'm asking the house, this information you have received for the past 2 days, what are you doing with it? Can you be accountable to yourself? Hold somebody by the hand. Our CEO said,
I'm holding you by the hand, but they're not going anywhere.
Our CEO said, if you have a partner, hold the partner by the hand, grow together.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And we're holding each other accountable. Wow. All right, please, let's just put up the next topic for our next speaker. Wow, Mr. Bidemi Adeoye will be speaking to us on career transitions from one path to the next. This is one man who has had a beautiful career journey. He's transitioned from one stage to another and keeps growing. And we're so proud and delighted to have him join us tonight. Please, if you're yet to share this information and this live stream with someone, just give them nothing short of 250,000 naira worth of information already by sharing this link with them. Ensure you drag them. If you have to sub for them to be in the room, please make sure you do it. Everyone needs to hear this. Everyone needs to know. And together we grow as a community. Yes. Please put up the profile of Mr. Bidemi Adeoye. I'd like to read it as we bring him up stage. Olorunsogo Bidemi Adeoye is an accomplished global public health informatics professional with extensive expertise in digital health, project management, data management, M&E, and health management information systems. Using in-depth and proven strategies, Bidemi currently supports health systems strengthening in the US, Liberia, Uganda, the Republic of Georgia, and Nigeria, amongst other low and middle income countries. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, make it rain in the chat room and give a resounding encomium to my brother, our facilitator, Mr. Olorunsogo Bidemi Adeoye. Hello, hello, hello. Bidemi, how you doing? You're muted. Can you please enable your microphone so we can hear you? We can hear you.
Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear. So good to have you join us at the Career Acceleration Summit. We're excited. Welcome, 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 welcome. And we can't wait to hear all you have to share and impact into every one of us tonight. Please take it away. We'll see you shortly after your session.
Yeah, very well. Just to be sure, I'm sharing my presentation from this end. So I don't know if you're able to get it up. Fantastic. All right. Thanks a lot, Israel and Tinuke. I'll start by saying a very big thank you to the organizers and also the moderators of this great summit. I must say that I am impressed with the quality I have seen so far. I have binge watched the previous sessions, and I encourage you all to do the same if you have missed any session at all. It will make sense if you guys recognize and truly appreciate the value that has been delivered today thus far, even from all the previous sessions from yesterday. Again, I want to say a very big thank you to the team. I know what this is worth. I know how important this is. And that's because I also enjoy some of these kind of sessions from experience and people who had gone ahead and done great things in their career while I was starting out some 11 to 12 years ago. One thing I would like to, maybe re-echo from some of the previous session yesterday and even this morning. Like I said, I tried to go over all of what has been discussed so far, and trust me, they are excellent and perfect. So one thing I would like to re-echo from the previous session is globalization. I think Mr. Akinola was talked a bit about that. Even Mrs. Adeleye touched on that during our session some few minutes ago. So I'd like to re-echo globalization. I think it's imperative for all of us to benchmark our career growth and success on a global scale. This is how personally I've been able to, identify trends and patterns in my field, and even emerging skills and even terms that are being used. So as they emerge, because I'm able to benchmark, on a global scale, I'm able to identify them, I'm able to incorporate them into the things that I do. And, this always gives me the opportunity of early adoption. I'm able to leverage early adoptions of skills, emerging skills, of emerging patterns, of whatever it's emerging the work that I do. I learned early enough in my career that, branding can attract career opportunities. I agree 100% with that. But you need to realize that you need to develop, skill sets and relevant experiences to be on top of your game. While branding may attract those opportunities and bring you into the room where those opportunities exist, it's important for you to know that, developing real skill sets and relevant experiences put you on top of your game. So, and this is my, opinion. Instead of starting and focusing on branding and packaging, I like to always go deep into developing core skills that are relevant for the work that I do, because there's a big difference between, branding and padding. Again, some of these concepts are arguable, but this is what I believe. This is my opinion, and this is how I interpret it to and apply it to the work that I do. So I say there's a big difference between branding and padding. I think branding is sweeter to do when you have real experiences. So, it becomes very easy for you to be able to package that and put it in the way that people would like to see. But you see, padding becomes inevitable where experiences are missing. And I've seen that a lot of time. I also, heard some of the speakers talk about the fact that people go ahead to try to, brand the experiences and values and skill set that does not even exist in the first place. So that is what I call padding. So I think that, why branding is good and very important, I like to always start from acquiring and developing a lot of real skill set as against focusing on packaging and branding what I have. A common saying in Nigeria, I've heard a lot of people say, if you didn't do, it didn't do. I'm sorry if you don't understand that. It just means that you can't force what does not exist. That's what that means. Now, I'd like you to imagine a world where you have the power to shape your, career destiny. For just for a minute, I want you to imagine that, where each step that take leads to new opportunities and personal growth. Of course, I know this might sound, very far away for some of you listening right now, but what I want you to realize that it is possible. This is one of the things that is possible that I've seen it happen many times over and again in my own personal journey, even with the people around me, both in my family and out of my family. So I want you to realize today that it is very possible to be able to, and you do have the power to be able to change the direction of your career and to bring about just exactly what you would like to see. Once again, this evening, my name is Bidemi Adeoye. In addition to what has been said about me for the last 12 years, I've been able to develop my career right from the very grassroots. I was telling some people yesterday, I started like from the very lowest point of in my career, and I've been able to, through the grace of God and some diligence, I've been able to push myself to attain global relevance, even in the work that I do right now. I'd like to welcome you all this evening to Career Transitions from One Path to the Next, a journey that will empower you to navigate through the ever-changing landscape of professional success. My presentation this evening, I will attempt to talk about what is career transition, why should we even be thinking about career transition, and some of the tips. I love the ending part of Mrs. Adeleye's presentation this evening. It would really help all of what I plan to do. Right, so I'll take you through all of that. I would pause at some point to deliberately talk about, share some, stories of career transition and career success with you, my own story and the people that are very close to me. And then, like I said, would end it towards the end. I would also talk a little bit on developing roadmap for career transition. We live in a world that continues to change at an unprecedented pace. It is very easy today to see how technology shifts alone have us operating in new and different ways. Of course, rapid innovation is disrupting our lives both positively and negatively. And it is not just impacting our personal life. The pace of change is also impacting the way the work that we do and the way that we work. Of course, over the last 2 days, other speakers have talked extensively about the changing landscape of work. So I will not deep dive into that at all today. But I would like to say one last thing about some of what is influencing the work that we do. New research suggests that an upward of 65% of today's school children will graduate college and start in jobs that currently don't exist. I know I found this so interesting. This means that the pace of change we're experiencing now would not slow down at all, and it will not slow down anytime soon. It's likely to even speed up. And again, these are, in addition to all of what other speakers have shared, these are some of the major factors currently, distorting the global and job labor market. Of course, there are lots of other factors like increasing personal financial instability, and of course, individual and corporate desire for a better life. All of these, together affect and disrupt the current job market. You might be wondering what exactly is career transition, and it's part of what I will attempt to talk about this evening. Career transition is the process of discovering. It starts from discovering. It's a process of discovering and then pursuing a new career. I would also let you know that it also refers to, moving from one career to the other. Overall, it is career transition is a process of discovering and pursuing a new career. So there's always a discovering phase, even if you are currently within the career, within what you really, the major field and the major areas where you like to work. So there's always a process of discovering and there's a process of pursuing. So it also refers to moving from one career to another, changing from one role to the other within the same field, or from one field to another. It also refers to taking up a new lifestyle and profession. And here, these are some of the types of career transition. I feel like it's important to just lay the foundation, talk generally about what transition is and the type. So there are different types of career transition. One of it is vertical transition. That is when you're moving up within the same field. Like I work in public health, right? For the last 12 years, but I've not been at the same point, at the same field, in the same kind of role where I started 12 years ago. I've moved a lot. I've been able to do a whole lot of things. So that's moving. Vertical career transition is just about moving within the same field. There's also a sort of horizontal, changing to a similar role in a different industry. Some people even talk about cross-functional move. That is switching functional area within an organization or within different fields altogether. So I think it's good to also reflect a little bit on why people consider career transition. Of course, the economic part is always very important. People think about career transition in order to be able to earn more money. And one of the most common means for, and this interestingly is one of the most common means for, career change, right? Earning more money. According to a study that I was looking at some days ago, only 32 of workers feel their pay is fair. Globally, only 32% of the workforce feel that their pay is fair. Every now and then, we're always thinking, there's more for us to earn. There's more. There are more opportunities out there that gives us the kind of satisfaction that we want. Sure, money isn't everything, but that does not mean it doesn't matter, right? No matter how much you enjoy your job, being underpaid will impact your morale and quality of life. So I get it definitely when we say it's really not about the money. But at the same time, if you think you're undervalued in terms of what you get at the end of the month, that definitely has a potential to impact on your morale and your overall quality of life. The second, thing I'd like us to consider is career satisfaction. Life changes affect, interest and passion. The things that you were interested in 5 years ago, 10 years ago could have changed. The things you were passionate about even 3 years ago could have changed. So you may have taken a job thinking you will be in it for a very long time, for many years, but now you want to utilize your skills differently, or you stumbled upon a role that really gets you excited and you think will give you more happiness. Another one is lack of opportunity within your current role or your current industry. Does your current industry or job offer many opportunities for skill development or for growth or even for innovation? It is absolutely natural to want opportunities to learn and develop our skills, right? Not to mention that staying in the same role without progressing for many years can be sometimes, not all the time, a red flag when future employer consider your work history. I mean, there are lots of arguments and different school of thoughts on this. Some people think that just staying in a particular role for a long time has some merits, while some other think that, especially more recent discussion and trend, people are leaning more towards the fact that it's important to have that mix and spice within the kind of roles that you've occupied before now. One other one is new skills and experience. You might be craving the chance to develop new skills and work in different environments. Just like Mrs. Adeleye said, you might desire to want to work in North America, also because we're talking about benchmarking your career on a global scale. So you might be craving a chance to develop new skills and work in different environments. That's also natural. Everyone wants to feel, pride in their work and excited about mastering new skill. When I'm able to learn a new skill and I'm able to apply that, it gets me really excited. Another one is value or goal change, right? Sometimes your career change is influenced, by substantial shift in your, personal values or in your personal life. Maybe new addition to the family. If you were single before now, that could, inform some of the kind of things you were interested in. But, adding someone else to your life, starting up a new family. So there are different things, that could change our passion and interest over the course of the year. And then I think the last one, there are lots of them, but the last one I maybe like to talk about is seeking new challenges. When was the last time you felt, really invigorated and truly challenged? If you can't recall when that was, that's something to consider, right? Because I think but one of the interesting thing about life is being able to, develop new desire, new interest, and pursue them. When you achieve that, it gives you a very good feeling, and then you're able to move to other things. Career transition is quite important. I think it's important, and I'm sure all of us think it's important, and that's why we're talking about it. And this is because it allows us to improve our overall well-being and find a sense of purpose. Yes. It also, help us to explore different industries. Now there's a lot of conversation around, tech or application of tech in the things that you've been doing before now or in the career that exists before now. And that's some part of why career transition is important. Again, you might not be changing career in terms of horizontal transition like I described to you. It could also be vertical, right? Maybe there are now new roles within the same field that you are that maybe require significant application of technology more than the current role that you occupy. So that's also some sort of transition. It's also important because it allows you to stay relevant in ever-changing job markets. And I think I'll touch a little bit about this after now. Also, personal growth. Yeah, I think this career transition helps us to grow as a person, helps us to, grow and be able to bring new values to the organizations where we work. I think it's important to also quickly talk about some of the challenges faced during career transition. This is part of what the organizers wanted me to be able to address. So I will talk about them in general right now, but after telling you some stories of successful career change or career transition, I will come back to talking about some tips and sharing some tips on how you can overcome some of this fear. So transitioning from one career path to the other can present, various challenges. It is important to acknowledge and address these challenges to navigate the transition successfully. And what I will talk about on this slide will be some of the challenges individual may face during career transition. One of it is fear of the unknown, definitely, especially even for when you are changing, a different role within the work that you do, right, within the same career where you find yourself, or when you're trying to switch career entirely. Fear of the unknown, it is for real. This is something, every now and then, I've also experienced. The last the 2 years plus thereabout, we relocated from Nigeria, just like Mrs. Adeleye, to Canada. We moved to the US, and there was this fear of unknown right from the beginning, even when there are some factors that I shouldn't bring about fear. But then the fact that it is completely new. I mean, I've been to the US a couple times before relocating to the US, but then this is a different case. Vacation is different from moving your life, especially when you need to, kind of quit all of what you thought was working. I mean, I had a very good career. Glory be to God, I can say that. I had a very good career, was moving well, getting promoted as I went to, getting all of the good things that I desire in a career and being able to do well for myself, right? So, but having to leave all of that. So my own relocation journey, again, I'll talk a little bit more about it, but just sharing a little bit. My own career journey wasn't necessarily inspired from not, having a lot to do. I think it was more about being able to now experience the global scale. So while we were in Nigeria, I mean, I could say that I worked extensively in, almost all of the states in Nigeria. I think there are only 3 states in Nigeria where I've not gone to work. So I had the opportunity to work on national project, having lots of engagements at the Nigeria federal ministry level, working with a lot of national and international donor and partner organizations. So all of that was there while we needed to decide on going on this embarking on this relocation. So that's having to leave all of that, living a comfortable life to what you are not very sure about. Although before I got to the US, I already had a job, so more like landed in the US like on a Saturday and resumed work on a Monday. Even when all of that was in place, there was still this fear of the unknown. So moving into a new career, industry, or job can be intimidating due to uncertainties and unfamiliarity, right? But overcoming this fear requires embracing change, right? So this was some ways that we helped ourselves by, just talking to ourselves, having that internal conversation that, we just need to embrace this new change and this new life. Thereby, it allows us to adopt a new growth mindset and seeking opportunities for learning and development. Another one I'd like to talk about is lack of experience, right? And this is for real. I've seen these happen to different people. Lack of experience. So switching careers, often means entering a field where you may have limited experience or knowledge, and that's important. But also, when I talk about creating a map, a roadmap for transition, I would also try to address this a little bit. But to overcome this challenge, consider leveraging transferable skill. You might not necessarily have all of the skill set for the new role, for the new career you are switching into, but it's always important to consider transferable skills from your previous or current role, engaging in relevant training, identifying relevant training, and enrolling, subscribing for those, or other educational programs. It could be both academic and non-academic, and seeking mentorship or guidance from professionals in the field. I think we'll have opportunity to still talk a little bit about that. Another important challenges that people face is financial concerns, right? Transitioning career may involve taking a temporary pay cut or facing financial instability during the initial stages. You heard Mrs. Adeleye talk about maybe the fact that you might need to do some saving up, right? So when you don't have those kind of resources, and then you don't have the luxury of being able to save a lot, that brings about some kind of financial concern when you are considering or going through career transition. So it is crucial to plan ahead. I think this, as much as this applies to all other parts of life, this is super important for career transitioning. So it's very important to plan ahead. You do need to create a budget, right? I've read a lot of people say, even when you are not planning to transition career, it's always it's a good financial education for you to save up your living expenses. And I know this is not possible for a lot of people, because many people do not even currently have enough to live the life that, at the minimum, how much more putting something on the side to save up your living expenses for a few months. But this is always very important when you are considering career transition, especially if you are going to be moving completely from the field where you currently work and where you are used to. Another thing, another challenge to talk about is resistance from others, right? So sometimes when you discuss what you're intending to do with family, friends, with family members, with friends or colleagues, they might question or discourage your decision to switch careers, right? While it's important to listen to counsel from people that know you and people that are around you, it's also very important to know that this has the potential to also derail you from your plan and derail you from what will really bring about that significant career leap in your career growth. So overcoming this challenge involves staying focused on your goals. You do need to, of course, identify your goals and stay focused on them. Seeking support from like-minded individuals who do understand your aspirations, and surrounding yourself with positive influence. So I said all of that to just kind of create a background on what transition is about. Why do people consider transition, career transition, and some of the challenges that you might face. This list are not exhaustive. There are a whole lot of factors you need to consider, but we definitely cannot go through all of that within the time allocated for my session. So I like to bring it home a little bit more and make it a little bit more personal. So I'll share. I mean, I have three stories that I plan to share with you today. Hopefully, we'll be able to get to the third one. So I will start with mine. Mine will be the third one, and hopefully, we'll be able to share that. So I just mentioned to you that, and so the first one I will share is, my wife's story, because she also had to transition career on the last 2 years, and that it's an exciting one because it's like a very clear and good example of that horizontal career transition. I had experienced a lot of vertical moving within the same field because the field is so big, public health is so big, right? So, but there are lots of other things you can do. So, but my wife's story is that of changing, career path completely. So I'll start with our story. I mentioned to you that it's 2 years plus now in 20. That was 2022, yes. So we relocated to the US in 2022. But before then, my wife had done a lot of things in education. Undergraduate is in education, master's degrees in education. And at the time in Nigeria, before we relocated to the US, she was also working with government, of definitely in education, right? So with one of the education agencies. So when we moved to the US, the natural thing to do is to want to continue in that area, which she did. So, but on getting here, trying to get into the educational sector, yeah, which she did, she was able to find um, an educational focus based role, and then she started doing that. But then to realize that maybe this is maybe not what exactly she would like to do within this environment. And this brings me to saying that this is an example of what I was saying before now about how you were passionate about a thing within the context where you were. But when the mere fact that you change your environment, you change your location, the way that your role, the way that your passion is being expressed within your context might not necessarily be the same way, right? So all of us definitely know that education, the way education is set up in Nigeria is not this exactly the way it's set up in the US. Cultural differences and a whole lot of that. So at this point, my wife realized that she think that she might want to do something a little bit different. She might want to transition into a different career, and this is also informed by understanding the job market here, also understanding what's the demand, what's in demand, what's also looking at the learning curve, what can you get into easily. So there are lots of conversation and factors that inform the need for her to switch career, but she started with education where we got here. So finally, we nailed it down to IT, and this was also informed by a lot of broad consultation, discussion with people within the community, within our small community. I mean friends and families, right? So we nailed it down to IT, and then yes, she's now excited about IT. She started reading up one or two other things, watching some videos, but because she's moving field completely from education to IT, trust me, especially if you don't have any IT background. And I'm not talking about being able to use laptop or being able to check your email. I'm talking about core IT skills, right? Understanding core IT concept. That's what I'm referring to here as IT, right? So if you are in that position, sometimes it's a bit difficult and challenging to be able to get into that field and sector by yourself. You would usually need some sort of organized system to help you with that transition. I mean, organized system that helps you with identifying what you need to know, even the sequencing of what you need to know, and also providing you a lot of opportunity to apply what you learn and see how the field work. So to cut, this long story short, she was able to identify a program, somebody from somewhere who knows somebody, told her about a particular IT training program that helps, people to transition into IT, right? And then she enrolled for the program, and then she got into the program, right? While I think this is important is because this is a practical example of some things that you need to do, especially when you are going through horizontal career transitioning from one field to a different one altogether, right? It is very important to understand the skills. I mean, starting with your own goal. What's the goal? What's the catch here? What's the inspiration? Why do you want to change career? So for her, she felt that there's a lot more she's able to do in this environment, right? Which was not possible in Nigeria. There are a lot more opportunity within this field, right? Which gives which will allow have different job satisfaction, different challenge, opportunity to learn new skills, opportunity to meet new people. So these are all the factors that inspire the goal for the change of for her to change her career. And when that happened, she had to go through an organized learning system, right? In as much as there are lots of programs out there, in fact, there are too many programs out there, almost too many programs out there, right? And then some of you find yourself just jumping from one learning program to the other. The challenge with just going from learning this, learning that without some form of coordination is because within a field that you are trying to get into, there are established competencies, right? There are established competencies in IT. There are established even within IT. There are all the different subdomains in IT, and this is applicable to all the different areas. There are established competencies, and it's important to be able to map learning programs that addresses the different competencies, because you might find yourself confused with the amount of a number and of training platforms, training programs that are available out there. So that's what she did. She went through an organized training program. I think it was for about 6 months. It wasn't just didactic, giving them theory. The training was designed in such a way that they had they were able to do lots of applying what they learned from the program, a lot of opportunity to have a touch and feel of what they are learning in IT, right? This also, as a part of the training program, they also did a lot of career development, IT career development session, where they, were able to review their CVs, were able to, from their previous experiences, right? The things they've done before now, what are the transferable skills? And I'm saying all of these things in this order just so to describe to you some of the steps you might need to go through, especially when you need to transition career. So they had like consultation session with HR specialists every now and then that help to identify transferable skills from what she was doing, although she was in education. But definitely there are lots of transferable skills like being able to manage different activities simultaneously, which speaks a little bit to project management. Also being able to, while she was doing education in Nigeria, she was able to manage a classroom of our students or pupils, right? So those are some transferable skills that speak a lot to coordination, that speak a lot to being able to impact knowledge. And these are all transferable skills for the part of IT she was getting into. She was getting into IT support as an entry. Because that's one good entry point to IT. So all of that, was identified, and then, they were able to rework the CV, not to pad the CV. I must say that not to pad the CV, but to repackage the CV to be able to reflect some very great experiences that she had from all of what she was doing for many years before we moved into the US. So that training program also sponsored certification. So you see, from having a goal to switch career to being able to identify the skills that are required, the experiences that are needed, and being able to also identify what kind of certification, what kind of training program Also, opportunity to be assigned to a mentor, not just mentor to help explain and understand the IT market, but also to help package, transferable skills and previous experiences. So you see, this again, mentorship is another important part of what you might need to do to successfully transition career. So they were able to do a lot of to teach them a lot of theory and practical application of all of what they were taught, and then that's connected to sitting for the certification. I think she wrote two certifications and another Google certification on Coursera, and she was able to pass all of that easily. And it was very clear that that was only possible because of all of what she had gone through, being able to identify and go through a proper learning program that helps to identify competencies within the area she wants to move into, and also deliver training content that matches the different competencies and the requirements of the new field she was switching into. So all of that, became very useful and was very important for this switch. So from this story, you will see the different component, the different things you will need to do, just like I described before. Now, I knew I was not going to be able to go through all of the three stories, but the second one was going to be about my youngest brother. So he was able to move within just 2 to 3 years from post NYSC to being able to get a reasonable role within one of the non-profit organization currently in Abuja. And some of what I've described about my wife were some of the things I put him through, because it's a path that I've walked through myself, right? So he was able to go volunteer. I remember then, he was just at home, but back in our parents' house, he was busy sending application to a different position, also doing different programs. But at some point, I just, step back and let him know that you might need to maybe step out there to go look for a place to just volunteer, even if you're not going to get paid. I mean, nothing can be worse than that. You're already unemployed, right? Rather than sit and wait until something comes or something happens, just get out there and go volunteer. So I got him to go into a place, one of the state ministries. He went there, not like they advertised for any position. He was able to just go discuss with them. They told him to bring a letter. Of course, people usually jump at opportunity for anyone to volunteer with them because they don't have any payments obligation to you, right? And he wasn't expecting anything anyway. So, he started going there, he started seeing, learning, new things. They'll give him reports to write, they'll give him program implementation reports, do little data collection, data analysis. So all of that experiences, it was there for I think 1 or 2 years. So he moved from one office within that ministry to another one. And then as that was happening, I'm sure he didn't even realize how much he was learning and understanding public health a little bit more than sitting down at home. So with all of that, he was able to now apply for an internship role with another organization in Abuja. So at the time, he was living he was based in Ilorin, Kwara State in Nigeria, for those that know. So he moved from Ilorin to come do that internship. It was going to be for 6 months. So when he started that internship, I got online and organized training programs all for free. He didn't have to pay anything. All he needed to do was to show up. So I organized different training programs that I thought would be relevant for the internship role that he got. And then he was diligent enough. He was able to, go through that difficult process of learning one after the other. Some of those programs do not even have certification, because sometimes certification is not the most important thing. But the fact that you are gaining new knowledge, you are getting to understand the terms, the words, the language of the business language of that industry is very important. That you're also able to communicate at that level. So he was able to go through most of the training program, and that helped him greatly to deliver on that internship role. So much so that at the end of the first 6 months, again, they had to extend him for another 6 months. But the interesting thing that happened was that at the 6 months, he saw another, position in another not-for-profit in Abuja. And then all of what he has learned from where he went to, where he volunteered, at the state ministry, to the internship that he did, all of the experiences, all of the things, the training programs he's gone through became the foundation and became the, the experiences that he had to present for that new role. And then he applied for it. He wasn't even able to negotiate. He wasn't even able to say, state his salary. One day, after, different stages of the interview, they asked him what he was going to earn. Exactly what he wrote, what exactly what, was in his offer letter at the end of the day. So I said all of this to show to you that, it's not enough to have a goal to transition career. It's super important to, have a systematic process, have a way to go through it. My own story is also not different. I told you I started right from, from the lowest of the part of the ladder, and then I've been able to grow my career. So I started from, I did my national, this is something Nigerians will know very well. I did my national youth service call with the Federal Ministry of Health. I was posted to, office of the director. All of what I was doing there was, mainly, they will ask me to process files, move files from one program to the other, one department to the other. But I wasn't discouraged with that, right? I saw that as an opportunity to use the extra time that I had to learn a little bit more about how, public health works within the ministry, because it was the Federal Ministry of Health, it was the office of the Director of Public Health. So I used that 1 year period, although it was not like what I wanted, but I used that 1 year period to really learn a lot. As I'm moving files from one program to the other, I'm doing a lot of reading. That helped me to identify trends. That helped me to identify, different areas of public health. That helped me to identify, what was required, how does funding work here, how does this programming done in this area. I learned about almost all of the public health programs that were currently in Nigeria at the time, right? And from there, I started to develop interest in the different areas, right? So following that, I thought, so I think just shortly before I finished my NYC program in Nigeria, I also already started volunteering for one organization that was just, going from one location to the other to do HIV counseling and testing. Of course, I know in this call, there are lots of you that also, have done something like that, but maybe you didn't take time to understand, what does that connect to following, doing testing and counseling, where does it lead you to, and all of that. So I moved from being a volunteer to doing internship, to being a program assistant, to doing public health programming, to doing monitor and evaluation, to doing data management, to being a data manager, and to what I'm doing right now, having a global experience, being able to work in a multi-country across the world, right? So this has been my career journey, and over the course of all of moving here, both for me, both for my brother and for my wife, at every point in time we had fears, right? Because transitioning careers can be daunting, but with proper strategies and mindset shift, we can overcome challenges and fears that arise during the process. And these are just some of the tips. There are a whole lot of them, but I think I have just about 3 to 4 minutes to go, but I'll just talk about maybe 1 or 2, right? Education and skill, self-reflection and mindset shift is definitely important. And, I talked about that, right? Take time for self-reflection to understand your motivations for career transition, right? Embrace a growth mindset. You must always know that learning is not, doesn't end. One of the speakers talked about lifelong learning. So you might need to revisit that session. There is also education and skill development, right? You definitely need to invest in acquiring new skills through courses, through workshop, through certification. These are all of the things I've done. Within the last 2 years, I've completed over 30 training programs, right? Online, on data science, on artificial intelligence, machine learning, conversational AI, business process analysis. That's one thing that I do, but I'm not talking about all of that today, right? On a different level, I've done more than 30, I think even 40 actually, training programs, both on Coursera, on LinkedIn Learning. That's because for you to stay relevant, Mr. Takon was talking about range, right? It's not only applicable in consulting. I think at some level, that range is important because you do more than if you need to provide advisory across different cultural settings, across different contexts, across different continents, right? It's super important for you to also be able to get to the level where your skill is able to match up. So there's networking and mentorship, and I see Sister Fulake popping up now. I know my time is almost up, so I'm just running it up right now. So yeah, and I think I'll just stop on this slide. Let me just use the remaining 1 minute there about to get on this side, because the next thing I was going to talk about is like creating a roadmap, which
Please
was
finish up.
yeah, okay,
Please
thank you.
finish up.
Yeah, Mrs. Adeleye did a great job at that. So let me put one last one. So in addition to education and skill development, there's networking and mentorship. This is very important because some career path, you just wouldn't be able to navigate it all by yourself. Even if you are able to, you are going to spend a lot of time, right? So what mentors do for us is to be able to hold your hands, just use different methods to help you collapse time within that area. I mean, that's that my wife experienced that. I became the mentor for my brother in the story that I shared with you. That's because I'm very familiar with that area and I've gone through that process. Every now and then, I'm always identifying even people that I don't know before now, provided I see that they walk the path that I'm trying to go through. I find a way to just, be in their DMs, maybe on LinkedIn. If there are people that know them, if I have a friend, we have mutual friends, I just find a way to connect. That's because I've seen real life how times can be collapsed in terms of understanding an industry, gaining the knowledge, accessing network. So networking and mentorship is very, very important, right? And from all of what all the speakers have said, you realize definitely that networking is not about just going to events and sharing complimentary card, right? It's all about bringing values to the table, right? How are you? How valuable are you? How are you improving the work that the next person is doing out there, right? Then the last one, definitely is creating an action plan. And I won't get into that because Mrs. Adeleye did, great justice to that. It is very important. So for you to go through all of what I've described in the different stories, you do definitely need to have a plan in place, right? And then you need to be able to work with some plans will not work the way you have designed them, but I think it's still worth the while to have a plan that guides your step accordingly. I will just stop here. I want to conclude by saying careers don't change themselves, but with a clear vision and persistent effort, you have all it takes to make the professional leap. Whether you are seeking more happiness, a better salary, a meaningful work-life balance, your new career could just be around the corner, definitely. Now, all that is left for you to do is to go out there and find it and do the hard work, right? It's good to do packaging, but I love to package real core skill sets available and relevant experiences that are trying to struggle with artificial intelligence platforms to pad and present what I don't have. I'll just stop here. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you.
God. Oh my God. Bidemi Adeoye. Wow. That was simply amazing. I think one of the key skills that you highlighted and is a high level awareness of self-awareness for me is that packaging comes when you have experience. But when you don't, padding is inevitable. And that's so true. For many of the people that walk into interview rooms and never get their dream job, it's because they don't have the experience. And when you go through their CV, you find out that they are not authentic. There's a lot of padding. You are lying through your nose and you don't have what it takes to support your claims. Thank you so much, Bidemi, for this session. Can we make it rain in the chat room? You are yet to like this video. There are about 30 of us, 40 of us online. Click the like button, and make some noise for Mr. Bidemi in the chat room. Make it loud. Oh, give your comments. How has it been for you? I think I was blown away. I'm telling you. We all sat down in the studio and we were glued at you this way.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience. Thank you for bringing your A-game to the summit. Thank you for being a part of transforming lives. If you are yet to like the live stream, put a thumbs up. It's right in front of you. It doesn't bite. Subscribe to the channel. Like, comment, share. This is a good time to share. Click the share button. Send it to your Facebook. Send it to your Instagram. Send it to your wherever, TikTok, as the case may be. And use the conference hashtags. Hashtag career acceleration. Hashtag growth mindset. Hashtag career development. Hashtag Katsin consult. Hashtag go for gold. Come on, guys. I can see all the accolades. Thank you so much, Bidemi. We really learned from you. We're going to take a short video, so grab your water, hydrate a little bit as we take it on the home road. The next session that we'll be taking after the commercial break, after I come back to do a few cha-cha-cha. Cha-cha-cha means a few chit-chatting about things we have for you before we take on the next speaker. You need to hear the next speaker, all the way from the United Kingdom, and one of our first speakers at Career Acceleration in 2017. She's backstage waiting to drop it like it's hot. So get your friends in. You need to know how to resolve conflicts and find your work-life balance in everything that you do. Take it away, media team. A quick reminisce from Upstart 2024. And I can tell you, like every event that Katsin Consult holds, it was a blast. We had entrepreneurs from across the northern region of Nigeria in the room for 2 days intensive of planning 2024. I am one of the few people who believe that you don't switch your years when it comes to the 31st of December. That's a waste of your time as a productive person. Because guess what? January 21 is World Quitters Day. All of your resolutions will have been over by January 21. That is why we put you in a room in December, in the first week and the second week of December. First week for Lagos, Upstart 2025, and second week for Abuja, Upstart 2025, and second week for Lagos, Upstart 2025. The dates for Upstart 2025 business retreat for leaders, business heads, mid-level management, senior level management, you're an entrepreneur, is 6th to 7th of December in the city of Abuja. And of course, 16th, 13th to 14th in the city of Lagos. If you are joining us at the retreat and you want to register now, you will be getting the retreat at a discounted 170K residential. That means you get 1 night stay in an exclusive location in the city of Abuja or Lagos. If you're paying once we get into the early bird season, which is November, you will be paying 200K. So if you want to know more about this retreat, the numbers are there. Reach out to those numbers or send us an email at info@katsinconsult.com. And you can join the community. It's there on the LinkedIn page. Come into the WhatsApp group where you can get more information about the summit. The second offer I will be giving you today, because you joined the Career Acceleration Summit, which came to us free because of our sponsors. Yes, I'm not going to give you that offer if I don't acknowledge our sponsors. We have 4 sponsors who supported us at the Career Acceleration Summit this year. Would like to celebrate Yara Sync, our engineering consulting partners. They were a huge part of why this event came to you for free. A 250K 2-day intensive came to you for free with 12 speakers from across the world. Would also like to celebrate Image Classic Production, our production company partner. If you like the set design, you like the lights, they were part of our success journey. Number 3, would like to celebrate Citygate Solicitors, our legal partners as Katsin Consult, that has given us the legality to bring this summit to you. And of course, number 4, and the most one of our amazing partners, no, we have 5 of them, is Studio 24, our official media partners. If you are yet to register or join the community, you won't be able to access the perks that Studio 24 is giving us to get a 30% discount on your professional HD headshots. Can you imagine? You don't look the part. You're not packaging or branding yourself for your dream job. What are you doing? So hurry and register with the link, the registration link. It's scrolling in the room. Join the chat room where you can register, submit your CV, and be part of this offer. It's only for registered participants. And the last but not the least is Perfect Trust Cosmetics, our beauty and wellness partners. They are huge sponsors to this event, and you getting it free. Can you celebrate our sponsors? Please, I need you to celebrate our sponsors. Lastly, for tonight, the last offer I have for you is for the newbies in the room. Yes, you need a career coaching, mentoring, placement program. You need it. You need it like you need air. Let us help you package yourself by mentoring you in your career and placing you in the organization of your choice. As an organization, we are known for recruiting for the best of the best in almost every industry you can think of. We have over 100 clients and counting, spanning through our 18 years of doing what we do at Katsin Consult. Get into that program. Is hugely discounted. If you're paying now, you get it at a 50K discount. But when we move into December, because the program is starting in January, you will be paying 70K. So don't be sleeping on a treadmill. Grab it. I'm not going to talk too much. Lastly, we have my 5 books that can help you accelerate your career. Help me understand my personality, know who you are, find yourself, help me chit-chat, make quality conversations like I said yesterday. If you didn't watch my session yesterday, I don't know what to say to you, you're on your own. Help me master my emotions. You're struggling with your emotional intelligence. You don't know how to ensure that you don't flip on your bosses, on the relationships that matter in your life. Get this book. There's nothing like anger management. It's all emotional regulation. So get this. And the Art of Small Talk, which gives you the perfect guide to business communication. And of course, Customer Seduction, my first book, Attracting and Retaining Profitable Customers. You are in sales, you're in marketing. In fact, we're all in sales and marketing. Don't deceive yourself. If you're getting the full package of 5 books, the entire full package, you get it at a discount rate. But you need to register or be in the community to access that discount. I'm not going to announce it here. It's only for serious people. I don't talk too much. We'll move straight into the rest of the summit tonight. And I would like to welcome our final facilitator for the night, all the way from the United Kingdom. She's an amazing human being. She's a huge part of what we do here. and I am proud to be bringing her on stage. Welcome with me tonight for Striking the Balance, Navigating World and Personal Life, all the way from the United Kingdom, Elizabeth Takon. I'm going to be reading her profile very shortly. Elizabeth Takon is a conflict resolution consultant and a licensed mediator and negotiator. She holds a master's degree in conflict state building and development from the University of Birmingham, and is a qualified mediator registered with the Civil Mediation Council UK, amongst other certifications in the counseling and cognitive behavioral therapy. She is a lead mediator at Jets Mediation and Consulting with offices in the UK and Nigeria, with a career acceleration. Welcome in the chat room. Welcome with me, Elizabeth Takon, my sister and my friend, and one of our very first facilitators at Career Acceleration from way back 2010.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, loud and clear. Welcome, Elizabeth. How's it doing in the UK?
Raining, and winter is gradually setting in, just adjusting to the new weather that's coming very cold. But we're good, we're good.
It's winter. It's winter. We're so happy to have you. Let's make her welcome.
Yeah,
take the stage and let us be blown away as always. You're welcome.
Okay, let's do this. Hello, everyone. I'm so honored to be here. It's been an amazing conference. I mean, I've been listening in, and I've just been blown away by the depth of knowledge that has been poured out by the various speakers. I want to say kudos to everybody, and most especially kudos to the team at Catson Consult. This has just been amazing. And I have learned a lot. I'm telling you, especially during the panelist discussions. It's just amazing to see how we, bring out our different perspectives to issues, and we all learn regardless of what level we are in. So I'm so happy to be here, and well done to everyone who signed in to be at the Career Summit, Career Acceleration Summit 2024. Today, my name is Elizabeth Takon, and like I've been introduced, I am a certified mediator. And so for me, this topic I will be speaking on is something very personal to me. And why? Because on the course of my career, I have seen how badly it has affected many people, and how sometimes we usually do not handle work and personal life with the importance that it requires. We undermine the effect of not navigating our work and personal life. And whether we like it or not, if we do not balance some of these things, there will always be consequences, to how it affects us at a certain point in our life. So today we'll just be reminding ourselves about some of these things. I mean, it's amazing that this is the last topic we'll be discussing today. After all said and done, after all the amazing career tips that we have heard on how to add value, how to increase and position yourself in the global market space. I'm happy that this is the last topic that we'll be discussing today, because as you grow in your career, as you grow in your profession, it is important that you have a balanced work and personal life. Okay, so very quickly. So the content of today, what we'll be discussing today is the importance of work-life balance in career progression. We'll be discussing measures to maintain work-life balance. We'll be discussing the risk of not having a balanced work life. We'll be discussing maintaining your mental health within the workplace. And then, of course, we'll be discussing strategies for managing conflict. that can affect your career. We'll also be discussing maintaining your mental health, not just within your workplace, just generally. We'll be discussing that as we go, and of course, strategies on managing conflicts that can affect you and your career. So let's delve into it very quickly. What do we mean by work life? I have put a picture up here, which is like a balance of many balls. Sometimes that is how we are with our life and career. You see, it's like a ball put on a scale, and each one has to stay stable for it to remain balanced. This is just exactly what we mean by work-life balance, balancing work and non-work, because life sometimes doesn't just revolve about what we do to earn money. It's larger than that. And a lot of times, if we do not balance our work life perfectly, it comes back to us in such a way that we begin to question if we have done many things wrong. All right. So, what do we mean by work-life balance? When we say work-life balance, what are we trying to say? What are we trying to explain? What are we trying to put out there? One, we are saying it is the ability to create a level of flexibility that ensures our self-care and fulfillment. So what do we mean by this? Creating a balanced environment, that means that you put your life on a table or on a scale like that picture I showed you, and then you can decide how you are going to live your life. Like I said, life is not just about work, making money, and I'm sure we know that. Let me give you a brief background as to where work-life balance, this theory of work-life balance started from. You know, in the early 1900s, when women were beginning to transit into career and grow in their careers, there became this problem of having to juggle career and family life, because at the time we all know that women were not expected to do anything serious. It was not the norm to have women grow in their careers. It was not the norm to have women succeed in business. It wasn't. But then they began to have women who wanted to achieve big things, but were being restricted by um, having to hold on to what society claimed or thought they should be as women. Homemakers, for example, stay at home, get married, have children, grow the family, and let the man just be out there. And then it became a problem. And so they needed to create something that would help women balance out. But you see, over the years, we have seen that it's not just the women, it now includes everybody. And so the ability to create a level of flexibility that ensures that you as a person, you are being taken care of and that there's fulfillment in what you are doing. Because sometimes in creating this flexibility, you have deadlines that you need to meet. You have things that you need to do. Like I said, when women started, they had deadlines to go home and cook. They had deadlines to do this. And then the employers were not also listening. It wasn't their business. They needed to make money, isn't it? And so there was no flexibility for many of them to thrive. So work-life balance, over the years, research and of course experiences of many people who have seen the consequences of not having work-life balance have said, what does this mean? It means that you are creating for yourself a level of flexibility that ensures that your self-care and fulfillment are going side by side. It also means that as you create this, you are also creating a balanced environment that helps you live your life holistically, because you need to live your life holistically. Life is in compartments. However, when we put it all together, we should be able to look at our life and know exactly where we are and know exactly what our life presents to us at that time. So it is creating a balanced environment that helps you to live your life holistically. It also means it gives you the capacity to keep aspects of our personal lives and work lives running without dominating and overwhelming the other. So I see it a lot of times as people grow in their careers. One thing suffers. Most times, it's the non-work life. Non-work life, I mean your social life, your physical life, your health, your relationships, whatever you term non-work life, it suffers. You hear people say, we need to make the money. If I make the money, then I can do X, Y, Z. Or see, the capacity you have to keep all aspects of your personal and work life running without one dominating and overwhelming the other, because one would definitely be overwhelmed, whether you like it or not. One will suffer for the other if you do not balance it, is what we term as work-life balance. And then it means that you are making time for everything that is important to you. I also have seen when people, in the bid of trying to succeed in one aspect of their lives, even though they know that this aspect of their life is very important, it is sidelined. So balancing your work life means that you are making time for everything that is important to you. What is important to you? Because I tell you, yes, you may say some things are more important than others. No. Everything that makes you you, everything that makes me Elizabeth, that makes me wholesome, that makes me live my life to my fulfillment and satisfaction should be important to me. And I have to make time for that thing. You've heard, you said your heart is where your treasure is. So if your heart is somewhere and you cannot make time for that thing, I don't think it's fair. So we need to understand what it means when we say everything that is important to you, you are making out time for it. And that is where we talk about work-life balance. Okay. So why is work-life balance? Navigation, very important. Number one, and for me, I think it's the most important thing, and I have put it first. I've tried to simplify this because I know that we're talking to a very wide crowd so that everybody can just understand it in simple terms. I know there's a lot of talk out there about mental health, and like we always joke about it, we say if someone does something wrong in the office and you scold them, they say, "Oh, it's affecting my mental health." Oh, come on. But you see, some of those things are true. Some of those things are true. If you do not balance your work life, it is going to affect your mental health. Mental health is the core, because without a sound mind, you cannot function. You know, without a sound mind, you cannot do many of the things that you want to do. You know, somehow we know what aspect of our life is suffering, but you just cannot handle it at the time. But you see, this is where the problem comes in. When the consequences of not handling that thing at that time shows up, it turns around to affect how you begin to feel. It turns around to affect how your mind begins to play out uncertainty. You start to worry. I'll give you a typical example, and I'm sure this example just resonates with many of us. You see, I have seen where men, for example, would say, and this is not being gender biased, but it's just an example, where men say, I'm making the money for family. I'm making the money for you. I'm making the money for my kids. But you see, if you do not balance these things very well, it's just a matter of time. It will rub off on you. It's just a matter of time. You will lose some of the things, like I said in the last slide, that are important to you. Because life will not wait for you to come around. Life will never do that. Life moves. Whether you are there or not, life just keeps moving, isn't it? So your mental health is critical in balancing your work life. You need to be sure that you are doing the things that make you happy. There are a lot of people. There was this story about this guy. I don't know if we remember. I don't know if he was a host on Oprah Winfrey show, or whose show was that? Who committed suicide? I think it was last year. Many people were saying, "Oh, well, he was just in the studio." No, it wasn't Oprah Winfrey. It was, what's this lady's name now? I can't remember now, but she's a popular TV host in America. And the guy committed suicide. They asked his wife, what was the problem? She said she doesn't know. Till death, nobody knows. I can tell you what it was. Work-life balance. On the outside, many people appear fine. They are succeeding in their careers. There are things that are happening to them that we are applauding them for. But the question you ask yourself is, what happens inside? When they come back from work, for example, and they see that while they have taken care of one aspect of their lives, this aspect of their life has nothing to show. What happens? It begins to affect mental health. And that's why depression is on the increase. That is why people have become so suicidal, because they are focusing. The scale is not balanced. They're focusing on one aspect, ignoring the other aspect, expecting it to come around when they are ready. But it doesn't always work like that. So sometimes we have to understand that it's not easy to fall into mental depression. It's not. It just takes time. Ellen DeGeneres. Thank you very much for that. It's Ellen DeGeneres. That was the name. That's the name of the TV host, Ellen DeGeneres, who's somebody who she used to work with. The guy had no reason to do what he did, but I tell you that he did. His mental health had been affected because there were probably aspects of his life, probably his social life, probably his financial life, probably his relationships or something. It was not just working. It began to affect him. And he did the unthinkable. He took his life. Now, while we say suicide is not an option, I tell you that when unhappiness sets in, it becomes an option for many people. So that is why it is important to balance every aspect of your life. Balance it. As we go on, we're going to talk of the different aspects of our lives that we need to balance. But you see, it also ensures that no aspect of your life is given more priority than the other. Very important. Like I use the example of people, especially young couples who have deadlines to meet. Now you have the passion to meet these deadlines. That's not a problem. You have a passion to make a mark in your office. That's not a problem. But I tell you, you also need to put in that same measure in things that do not produce money, because at the end of the day, they will all come together. And what does that do? It puts people, if you do not have aspects of your life not overshadowing the other, then sometimes you just realize that things are suffering around you and you cannot explain it. So balancing this, the importance of this is that no aspect of your life, you see, I'm not giving you this aspect because this work-life balance is not a one size fits all. You know, it varies from person to person, environment, situation, country. It depends on where you are, what you are doing per time. But ensure that whatever it is important that no aspect of your life is given more priority than the other. And even if it is for that time, you are ensuring that you have put measures in place to make up for the times that you have given one aspect of your life more priority than the other. And what does that do? It helps productivity that brings success. Like I said, if you pursue this money so much and then you do not have a family, for example, to come back to, you do not have a wife, for example, to come back to, you do not have children, for example, to come back to, you do not have friends to come back to, you do not have a social life to come back to, all of those things. At the end of the day, it begins to affect productivity. I was listening to the panelist session earlier in the day, and somebody said something about women bosses being very difficult, and I laughed. As a female boss myself, I can tell you something. Sometimes those things are effects of things that are not saying out. And it's not just about women bosses, it's about anybody. Sometimes people come to work, there's a way they behave, there is a way they handle issues. While we consider temperament in the way people behave, we consider temperament in the way people react to certain things. I can also tell you as a mediator that sometimes it is because there are unspoken things in their lives, outside their work life, outside their businesses, outside their careers that they're not telling you. It then begins to affect productivity. I've seen people say, oh, I was due for this promotion, I didn't get it. I'll tell you why. Because there were some things about you, the perception people have about you, and about how you have positioned yourself unspokenly, not necessarily saying anything, But because there are things that sometimes you just cannot hide, it's just like an aura that just follows you. The unhappiness, it just comes, you know. It just affects people perceive you, the way people react, the way people view you. Because sometimes you are a product of what you have on your inside, not necessarily what you show us. So it is important that you balance some of these things, whether it is between work and non-work. You can see that I'm using non-work because, like I said, it should be particular to individuals and where they are per time. And of course, in all of this, it brings you satisfaction. There is this satisfaction you have when you know that no aspect of your life, or let me not make it 100%, 80% of your life is not suffering for 20%, and 20% is not suffering for 80%. You see what I mean? Because sometimes when we look at the things that we are not giving as much importance to, it's sometimes we do not look at it like that, but it's sometimes a very huge fraction of our life. So it brings you satisfaction. You can go home and you are satisfied that today I have done X, Y, Z. Today I have touched this. Today I have been able to impact here and do this and do that. It brings you a level of satisfaction. Here in the UK, for example, people, work-life balance is huge. Huge, huge, huge. One of the speakers was saying it. If I put an out of office notification by email, I'm telling you, you cannot call me for anything. You can't. I'm not there. I'm not there. Because they have realized that if you do not have people who are stable in their minds, stable in their non-work life, there would be nothing to deliver at work. And they need people to be happy, satisfied with what they're doing outside their money-making ventures to be able to bring in the kind of passion they need on their job. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Where did time go? So we'll have to run quickly. I've been sent a notification that time is running. So what is the risk on not having a balanced life? I think I've already talked about it at some point. There is a risk to burn out and be exhausted. There's a risk to burn out and be exhausted. Have you heard of people that came to work in the morning, got home and slumped? Yeah. Have you heard of people who, for some reason, they just lost it? Like I talked about mental health. You will burn out if you do not balance these things. Because sometimes you need to create that environment to release stress. You know, the risk of it we can talk about it from now till tomorrow. For me, at a point in my life, when I realized that I was getting to this point of exhaustion, I had to start doing things that made me release stress. It became very important. If I had to go out with myself to release that stress, I would do it. So there is the risk to burn out and be exhausted. There's the risk of thinking that one aspect of your life is currently more important than the other can be dealt with later, like I said earlier. Now, as a mediator, I do a lot of mediating with divorced couples. And let me tell you something that I've realized. Sometimes it's not as if these people don't love themselves anymore. It is just that one person always thought that when they achieve this aspect of their life, they will always come back to this person, or they would always come back to this thing. But you see, like I said, life will not wait for you. You hurt the things that you love. You hurt the things that are important. You hurt an aspect of your life that you thought would always be there waiting for you to come around. But when you are ready, it's not there. So you see them sit sometimes before me, and I'm like, okay, so what is the issue? This person, and I could just see pain of not that the person purposely did this. It was just that at a point in the person's life, he could not balance himself or herself. In the end, you have affected the things of something that was equally as important as what you were pursuing. So you cannot You cannot afford not to balance it, because if you think that one aspect of your life will just sit pretty, waiting for you to come around, you are highly mistaken. It may not be there when you are ready. There's also the risk of being lonely at some point in your life. Because like I said, if you do not build some of these non-work relationships, solidify them, after all said and done, what happens? See, let me tell you a statistics we had here in the UK earlier in the year. So we were looking at, we did a project for a client in healthcare, and there was something that came up that caught my attention. You know, in care homes, there are people who are put in care homes at a certain age because there's nobody to take care of them. It's a norm here. But you have some people who have family that are always coming to check up on them. Always. And then you have some people, I'm telling you, I'm not kidding, ask around, 20 years, they would not have more than one person come to check on them every other year. It's a very lonely life. You have people who, after retirement, have not built certain relationships. Everybody's just left. Everybody has learned to live without you. What then do you want to do with all the career progressions and all the wealth you've made? And you just sit alone. Loneliness is sickness. And what does it do? It puts your health at risk. It leads to depression, it leads to anxiety, and it leads to unhappiness. You know, you cannot hide with when someone is happy. A happy person shows. The moment you know that, so it just shows there's this glow about a happy person. But when someone is not happy, you can only pretend. It's just a matter of time. The bubble would definitely burst. And then you will just know that this person is just pretending. Especially in this age of social media, where everybody is posting something nice about themselves and all of that. There was also another story of a lady who used to be a beauty queen in America who jumped from her flat. After she came back from work, stood upstairs in her flat, and she jumped. And everybody was wondering what happened. She appeared to have everything going on. No, she didn't. She didn't. So it puts your health at risk. It can lead to serious health. You know, sometimes we are so stressed out, we just forget that this body sometimes needs a balance to function. So it puts you at least, leads to depression, anxiety, unhappiness, and then, many things sometimes that people are even ashamed to say. One of the reasons why divorce rates have gone up so much is because people are not sometimes creating time for things like family. So you have your social life. How are you keeping up with your friends? How are you keeping up with your immediate family? How are you keeping up with your extended family? How are you keeping up with yourself? What's your self-care? How are you managing all those things as you grow? There's a man I like using him a lot as an example. He's Obi Kubana. For those of us who are watching from Nigeria, we know. Have you noticed that no matter where that man is, if you slides away and all of that, you see his wife. That is one deliberate man I have seen who is trying his best to balance out his life. Balance out. While making money, he has consciously made the effort not to leave his wife, his family, his friends behind. Have you noticed that everywhere he goes, and then you begin to wonder with the business, the level of business this man does and how busy he can become, how has he made time for this? One of the ways is the number one, you are setting clear boundaries with yourself. You are setting clear boundaries. You cannot solve all the problems in the world. Let people know what you can do per time. Let people understand what you can offer them per time. Sometimes it is in the bid of not having clear boundaries. We cannot plan. We cannot plan our lives. We cannot plan ourselves. You can't say no sometimes. For example, at work, they say work overtime. Here people work, some people you see them, they're looking for money. They're working 12-hour shifts 6 times a day, resting only on maybe Sundays, for example, and they would go to church on that Sunday. So the question is, how are you unwinding as a person? How are you setting clear boundaries for yourself? Have you been able to say no to some events, for example, because you need to sleep? Have you been able to turn down some invitations? And because you just know that you cannot manage it at that time. There are people who would never, you would never see them doing any extracurricular activities because they will tell you, I don't have time. I have deadlines to meet. Oh, you are trying to solve all the problems of the world and you will have no boundaries. So plan and set clear boundaries. And let me tell you, after a while, people begin to respect the boundaries that you have set for yourself. They respect it. Yeah, they do. They would come around. Oh no, don't go there. This person will not do this. Have you not noticed that there are some people that you just cannot go and do nonsense around? You can't, because they have set their boundaries. I know of a senator in Abuja at one time that will tell you at 7 o'clock, don't call my phone. Why? I'm home. Everything can wait till the next day. He has set that boundary. That's the senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. How much more you? How much more some of us who are still upcoming? He'll tell you, don't call me after 7 o'clock. I'm home. That is a boundary that he has set. And he set that boundary because he's trying to balance out his life, because he knows that when the chips are down, all of us should not be there. If he does not handle that part of his life, if anything happens to anything about him, whether he doesn't become a senator tomorrow or he loses money, it is the investment he has put in some of those non-work relationships that will sustain him. So you need to set those boundaries. And in setting those boundaries, you are putting things in the right perspective and know what is important to you per time. I tell you, some people, when you see them say, oh, Saturdays is for family. You know, in those days, we used to call them women rapper. You know, in Africa, our mentality called help. But when you see a man who is consciously, or a woman who is trying to say, oh, those people, they're always indeed to themselves. What is the problem? No, they are balancing out their lives, because they know that that aspect of their life is as important to their productivity outside, inside. Okay. Also, you have to make time to rest and relax and reflect. It is important. Sleep, my guys. Sleep. Make time to rest. Go on that holiday. Hang out with friends. Do something. I like, when I am stressed, I like to just sit down and do what makes me happy. You know, it is important to your progress in life that you make out time to rest and relax. Just ease of a lot of the things and the pressures that you meet as you go. It's just important. Some people don't sleep. You're sleeping at 2 a.m. You have to wake up at 5 a.m. How do you do it? And then you are just like a ticking clock, never stopping. So you need to make out time to rest. You need to make out time to relax. You need to make out time to reflect. You need to know that, like I said, you can't solve all the problem. You need to be deliberate and intentional with life. You need to also know leverage on your support system. Now, this is where another thing comes in. You see, if you do not invest in some of those relationships, you cannot use this. But if you have a support system, as you navigate your work life, leverage on your support system. Be nice to the house help. Be nice to people who can come and help you sometimes with the children. Be nice to people who can sometimes call you out for engagements that just help you network properly, help you just, live life. I see it a lot all the time. And we think these people are doing too much. No, they're leveraging on their support system. And then, of course, you know who you are and what makes you. I had to what makes you you. I had to sit down with myself at a point in my life with a pen and paper and begin to write. Who is Elizabeth? What does she like? What are her triggers? What makes me happy? What makes me unique and peculiar? When I get angry, how do I behave? I put all those things down. I put my life on the table, and I began to pick and select. And guess what? It has helped me. When I'm tired, I'm tired. When I need to rest, I need to rest. I don't work weekends. You cannot call me on a Saturday. I'm out. If I am hungry and I have some money, I go out and just have lunch with myself. I can, why? Because I know that I need it. Self-care is not selfishness. Sometimes we think self-care is selfishness. It is not. It is just knowing what makes you you. What are your triggers? It's not everything that sometimes you need to react to. They're just things that if you know who you are, they're just certain things that Coach Tega was talking about, emotional intelligence. They're just certain things that you will not do. And then it just brings a bit of stability to yourself. Okay? All right. And so in all of this, some people will say, oh, so how do I manage this and not avoid conflict in my workplace? How would I do all of this and escape not being labeled lazy or a weakling? Because I know that sometimes the demand of brain career is huge, and people sometimes just don't know how to juggle it. And then eventually it comes back to your workplace. So very quickly, I'll just run through this so that if there are any questions or other comments, because I think I'm running out of time fast. Oh my God, they said I have 10 minutes more. My goodness, where did time go? But you see, number one, just like you, when you get to your workplace, remember that the workplace is made up of people from different backgrounds, different cultures, and different personalities. Everybody is not like you. You have to understand that the temperaments we talk about is real. People would show it in different ways. So when you get to your workplace, while you are dealing with yours, remember that people are also dealing with theirs. You are balancing yours, they're balancing yours, you're, you're balancing theirs. So you need to remember that people are from, especially for people like us that work in the UK. It's serious. Sometimes I see people, sometimes they just don't, you just come in and you think that you want to be yourself in this place just because. No, it doesn't work like that. You would have issues. There would be issues you have, and you want, one of the last things you want to have, issues at work. All right. Understand that people are imperfect just like you, and sometimes you allow people be themselves. You know, you also need to know that you cannot be right all the time. Your opinion doesn't always have to be the best. Sometimes some of us are so opinionated, we want to have the last word. It doesn't work like that all the time. You know, you need to listen to understand people's opinion and also speak to be understood. All right. Tone and body language. Sorry, I have to rush this. I do not have more time. We're just running out of time, and I really need to rush this. I really wanted to sit down with this topic and just deal with it, but somehow we do not have enough time. Tone and body language play a huge role in reducing conflict, whether in the workplace or in any relationship you have. You see, this particular one, I'm going to tell you. Sometimes it is not the conflict itself that is the problem, it's how we react to the conflict. It is not the problem that has come out of the conflict. No, it is how you respond to it. Oh, someone says, I'm angry with you. Oh, say, I'm sorry. You say, but I told you I'm sorry now. No, your tone already tells me that you are not sorry. So tone, or you say you're sorry and you give me what we call the bombastic side eye. Your body language has already told me that you do not mean what you are saying. And what does that mean? It will not reduce the conflict, whether in the workplace or whether in your home. So it's important that tone and body language go together. If you have a problem with that, sometimes you say, I didn't do anything. No, you did something. You did something. I sit down, I hear two sides of the story all the time. And I can tell you that in a conflict situation, there is no innocent person. Everybody, the percentage may vary, but everybody has a role to play in what happened in that conflict. There are no winners. Everybody is guilty in a conflict situation. There is nothing, I hear people say things like, it wasn't my fault. No, something must have triggered something. Yes, the other person may have had a huge role to play, but what was that 5% that you contributed to whatever brought you guys to come and settle the conflict? So tone and body language play a huge role in the workplace, or like I said, in any relationship you have. Build trust with the people you work with. The way that you interact, the way they know that way they know your interactions are not selfish. Some of us, let me tell you, you know why some of us are struggling with work-life balance? If you tell your boss that I need to quickly do something, they can't trust what you're saying because you have not built that trust. You have not put yourself in a situation where people that you work with can trust you. Now, this is another topic that is very broad because sometimes you ask yourself, people in my workplace, are they my friends? Should they know about my personal life? I know, but sometimes I'm telling you, the support system that you need could actually come from the people that you work with. If you need to quickly run somewhere and do something, or just quickly close early and all of, how do you portray yourself as somebody that if you say, oh, please, I need to quickly do, when I come back, I'm going to finish this assignment. Stick to it. You need to build trust with the people that you work with. Then they know that your intentions are not selfish. Whatever you are doing per time, you are doing it from a good place. It's very important, especially for us who are bosses. We need to build this so that people that we work with can trust us. A lot of times they don't trust us. They don't trust anything we say. And then we begin to ask ourselves why. And then finally, conflict is a normal way of life. When it happens, learn to let it go. Forgive and let go. Because conflict will never cease. Conflict will never stop. So in summary, I'm just going to leave a quote that I like so much when I talk about topics like this. There is a time for everything and a reason for every activity under the sun. Please, to try to balance your life, remember that there is a time for everything. Do not join the bandwagon of people who retire at the age of 65, and when they look back, they have so many regrets of the things that they should have done that they didn't do. So pick up yourself today. It could be hard. I know that sometimes as a young person you're wondering, but I tell you, if it's a football game you like to watch, watch it. If it is that shirt you need to buy just to make yourself. I, for example, I like looking good. No apologies. Some people will what? It is my own way of self-care. It's my own way of telling myself that I am balancing my life because it is what is important to me. For some people, it's football. For some people, it's going out with the guys. But remember that even as you sometimes go, you need to put your life in perspective. What time is it for you? Sometimes I say to people, if you don't go out with the boys today and you spend time with your children, what will happen? If you don't go out with the girl, if you cancel that wedding just because you want to spend time with your mother today, what will happen? There will always be, sometimes as we grow in life, need to filter a lot of things, from our lives so that we can put life in the right perspective. We do not want to get to a stage in our lives where we realize that we have not only missed out on many important things, but we have also lost out on living a more fulfilled life because we were not paying attention to the things that we should have paid attention to. Everything is important. Take a pen and paper today. Put your name there. Write your life out on a broadsheet. Put it on the wall. Who is Elizabeth? What are the things I need to change? Because when I am at a certain age, I want to be able to look back at my life. I have built good relationships at work. I have built good relationship with my family. I've built good relationship with my friends. I've built relationship with whoever. Sometimes the opportunities you are looking for are in those relationships, but you haven't built it. You need to, if it is developing character, you need to go and do it. But just make sure that at the end of the day, no part of your life. I have a schedule, for example, when I wake up in the morning after my prayers, I go to the gym. When I come back from the gym, I have my cup of tea. I have my cup of tea as I'm sitting down. You see, it's here, very important to me. I have my cup of tea. I go to work. I come back. I read my book. I speak to my friends, and then that's what I do for myself because those are the things that I like. I like as Elizabeth. If I have to avoid drama, I avoid it. Why? Because I am trying to make sure that I am living my life in a bad way. So, thank you so much for listening today. I'm so sorry we had to rush this. Some of this, sometimes you don't know where time goes, but I just hope that somebody has picked something today in addition to all that has been said today. And I am looking forward to your questions. If there's anybody that has any questions that they want to ask. Okay, my moderators are back, meaning my time is up. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. You're muted. I can't hear you.
1 minute.
Okay. So they would come back, but that is it. Now that they are not here, and I'm hoping that they will just give me 1 minute. I also want you to just touch on something. When I was talking about conflict in the world.
We're back.
Oh, they are back.
We are back. Let's give you that round of applause one more time.
Collect your roses.
Collect your roses.
You have done well.
Take a bow. Woo! What a way to end the summit.
Beautiful.
My sister from another mother.
I didn't even know that time had gone. I was just wondering. I was like, oh my God, where's the time? What have I said? Oh,
You're having so
You
much.
said a lot.
A whole lot.
I don't know where to start. If you read the comment section, it was on fire.
Yeah.
oh
I
my
think the one
God.
that made me laugh was someone comments in the comment section. And she was like, in Nigeria, you sent an out of office email. It means you have resigned or they have sacked you. That was off me.
Oh my God. That was why I said in the
Oh
UK.
my God, what a way.
That was why I said in the UK. So I understand that sometimes it doesn't work like that for everybody. That is why I said it's not a one size fits all. Everybody has to look at time where they are.
But even in Nigeria, a lot of organizations have out of box email.
Oh yes.
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 Oh yeah.
Yes.
So
I've
it's
worked with several clients who sent me that email to say they are not available. And I'm thinking in Katsing too, we should have an out of office
Absolutely.
email to say I'm on holiday in the Bahamas.
yes. And you know, there was something I was also going to say. You know, here during summer, summer is because they don't see the sun all the time. Holiday is big for them. You just see people, everybody's up. You just release it. So I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Release it.
Just release the stress, release so many things, and just unwind and just it's something that probably career acceleration. You have to start planning a business vacation retreat, maybe.
We do. There's Upstart Abuja, Upstart Lagos.
That's what we're
an
talking about.
exclusive location.
Correctly, we should start planning Upstart UK.
Maybe we should do Upstart UK.
Maybe we should. Maybe, yeah, that would be a good idea. You know, fantastic idea. But it's something that people especially in Nigeria, need to start learning to do. Just sometimes, just learn to relax. Learn to just.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Can we make it rain thank yous in the comment section? Thank you, Elizabeth. We'll bring you right back in a few minutes to go into the panel session. You have a lot of questions that lined up for you, Elizabeth. So sit back with us, and we're going to bring back every single speaker on stage to answer their questions. This is a good time to like the live feed. There are over 30 of us on the live feed, but we can't see your likes. Do you know why you are not able to like? You are yet to subscribe. You need to subscribe to comment. You need to subscribe to like. You need to subscribe to share. So subscribe to the video, like the live stream, 250K free. And the videos are there. We're not taking it down. We're going to private it after 1 month. But for now, we're going to allow you digest it for 1 month. Can you say thank you to Katsing Consult?
Thank you so much, Katsing Consult.
Israel. They should say thank you to us at Katsing Consult.
Thank you.
Israel, how's the summit been for you as we're rounding up?
It's been mind blowing. It's been phenomenal. I'm certainly not going back the same way I came. I've learned so much, and I've written so much down that I'm going to begin to practice from today. You know, Mrs. Adeleye said something very profound. He said, it's not so much about the information you get, it is what you do with it. She said, information plus action translates into career acceleration. So now that you have all the information, what are you going to do with it? What will be your testimonies? What will be your praise report after this experience? So we look forward to hearing those. And talking about sending in video reviews and testimonials, we ask that you please send us your video reviews on the Career Acceleration Summit community. If you're yet to join the group, please do so using the link that is showing on your screen. If you've thoroughly been blessed, please do a video review and just send it across saying thank you and telling everyone what you've learned. And if you're yet to also go back to all of those videos, please make sure you do so. All of the sessions from yesterday up until today, you would receive a lot of value. Feel free to share with everyone you love, and let's continue to grow together in this community.
Fantastic. As we take it home, join the community. It's right there. We're going to be dropping hot career acceleration tips for you.
Absolutely.
Back to back engagement, job placement positions that are available. We're recruiting for other organizations that we partner with are recruiting for. Join that community. Don't be sleeping on a bicycle because that's even worse. Treadmill we can deal with, but bicycle, that's problem. So please join the community. We're going to be displaying our feedback form. The summit has been a blast.
Yeah.
If it has been a blessing to you, it's been 2 hectic days. And of course, 3 hectic months of planning.
Absolutely.
Give us your feedback. Please scan the Q&R code and submit your feedbacks immediately. It's right there. We're going to keep it there for a few minutes. Just let us know how the summit has been for you. Scan it quickly. We're also going to drop it in the community immediately, right after this. So if you're in the community, you can scan it there. Thank you for staying with us. And Israel, what's next as we close out?
I'm just so excited. I feel so pumped. I feel like 2025 has begun for me already. I feel like I can't wait to start to, practicalize everything that I've heard and I've learned. I can't wait to begin to put all of them to practice. All of the sessions were loaded and packed full. I cannot but say thank you once again, Convener Mem, for putting this together. This is a summit whose time actually was well primed in the whole grand scheme of things. I can't just tell you how grateful I am personally. So I've been a part of this, from ideation to strategy to planning to the sleepless nights to the dragging. This woman right here, she smiles on set, but off set, she can drag you if need be.
Can I interrupt you and say to the entire Career Acceleration Summit team, please come on live. Woo! This team deserves your ovation.
Come on, everyone.
Yes. Come into the live.
Everyone backstage.
Please come. They deserve your ovation. They have worked their hands, their hearts, their souls.
Come join us.
From the branding,
everyone
to the
backstage,
packaging.
we're waiting for you.
Come on, guys.
We're waiting for
Please
you.
come in.
Let's see your face. Come on in. This is Gideon Alejo.
This is our media team guy. He's done so much work. Our graphic designer is also in the building. Where is everybody else? I don't understand. Why are they hiding?
Emmanuel is the one behind all the videos you have been seeing. When you see the Career Acceleration Summit interlude, our microphone is not working.
Come in here.
You need to see everyone backstage. This is coming at our graphics designer.
He's done such a fantastic job with the design.
Stella, come. Stella has been the one engaging with you online. She's been the one managing the Career Acceleration Summit feed backstage, taking the questions in, welcoming you. We can go on and on and on. We have so many more of our team members who are not on set right now or are yet to come in. But we say a very big thank you to everyone who has been a part of this journey, helping us to host this global summit. We couldn't have done this without you. Mona from the beautiful
city of Vancouver.
We see you as well. Thank you so much for joining us. We are grateful. We're grateful. Please put your hands
together, guys.
Make it rain.
So I do, they work. Yeah.
Yes. Amazing team.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone.
No, we couldn't end tonight's summit without acknowledging this guy. It's been intense here in the studio.
Absolutely.
It's been intense here in the studio. And to round it off tonight, we're going into the panel session. So let's have all of our panelists back on stage. Israel, over to you. Introduce them, please.
I can't wait. This is Korede, Adeleye. Welcome back. We're so delighted to have you back on stage. Thank you so much for joining us again. Thank you for your patience. Mr. Bidemi Adeoye, thank you so much for your time, wealth of experience. And our
Thank you.
very own Elizabeth Takon, all the way from the United Kingdom, from 2017 up until date. Thank you so much once again for being a part of this session. I think I'll just like to start very quickly with Mrs. Adeleye. You made a very profound statement that I think has become one of the mantras of CAS 2024, where you said, if you don't like where you are, move. You are not a tree. I'm certainly going back with that, and I'm applying it to every aspect of my life. I have a question here for you, and it says, in a situation whereby you are not a tree, how do you move successfully without regretting your decisions, without regretting your actions? Someone just sent that in. I want to, you shared a lot about your story, about your transition. You used the STAR approach. You spoke to us about the situation, the task, and then the things you did to achieve the results and to get to where you are today. Were there points in the journey where you developed cold feet? I perceive that someone who probably is just about to take a big leap or a big jump, and it's like, what would happen or what would become of me if something goes wrong? So what words do you have to share with that person who's saying, I am not a tree, I know that for a fact. How do I move successfully without regretting my actions? Over to you, Ms. Adeleye.
Thank you very much, Israel, and thank you for that question. I will still share the questions that I was running through, which we were not able to see in the community. That's why it's very important for everybody to join the community, because you can take that with you. So I talked about you assessing your situation and understanding what you want for yourself. If you have done a very good job at that, not only leaving it to that, you have spoken to people who know you very well, maybe former colleagues, former bosses, mentors, coaches, people who have gone ahead of you in what you want to achieve, and they've looked at that plan, you've analyzed very well, and you've looked at that plan, you feel that it's a solid plan. We know that, yes, things happen, but if you've done it in such a way that you've considered all the things that can go wrong, all the resources available to you, mapped it out very well, and you've also given it time. Sometimes you know that you need to do this. You know that, yes, I'm not a tree. I don't belong in this organization. I need to move out of this place. You have a plan, but you don't have the money to execute the plan yet. Are you going to move? No. But the fact that you have that plan, the life that will be within you, and the joy with which you are dealing with everyday challenges will be different. You haven't moved, but because you're seeing it in your mind's eye, your stress level, referring to what Elizabeth talked about, how you're able to deal with the present day situation is going to be different. Because, you know, so some people are like, okay, you are just looking at me. The me that you're looking at is not, you're looking at the physical sitting on this seat. I'm gone. I know what I'm going to achieve. I'm getting there in 6 months. So that is a whole lot of things, and it will help you to deal with where you are presently and how to get to where you're going without you take calculated risk, not just jumping into it because someone said you should move. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, ma'am. This question is for you, Bidemi. In line with my career transitioning, how does my personal goals influence the career choices and opportunities that I can pursue? I think I have another addition to that question. The context of personal goals maybe goes around marriage, goes around, you know, personal growth, development. How do I manage it conflicting with my career transition and my choices?
Sounds good. Thanks. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Loud and clear.
Yes. I think the first place to start from is to refer this person back to what the last presentation about work-life balance. So I think for it's always important to see, when we say career, for me, and I know for most people also around, try to not say my career is on this side, my other parts of my life, family and other things are on this side. I think for me, when we say career, it's very important to see it as, you know, a full picture. Although, you know, that's professional part of your life, but we do need to realize that social, family, every other thing that, you know, that also makes up the different components of our life, all influences or contribute to the decision that we make in that part. Say, for example, family, and I'll give you a practical example of when I had to decide on getting to the next level of my career. personally, I don't like to manage my family virtually or remotely, at least for the long haul, right? I mean, I could travel, to go do 2 weeks, to go do 1 week activity. I mean, 1 month, temporary activity. But I don't think that we'll be at the point where I want to be living my life in one location and then my family is in another place. So for me, that is an important component of any decision I need to take career wise. Trust me, if it wasn't going to be possible, that there was not going to be an opportunity for my family to move to this location with me, I'm definitely not going to go ahead with that decision. Although it is what I desire, it is what I want, I'm going to get to the global level. But I think that is a priority for me. So, I don't know if we're able to successfully dissociate or separate family, other components, and other factors of our lives away from our career progression. But ultimately, I think it also depends on individual. I mean, some persons don't mind, they can keep families on, I mean, keep their life on tour. And if that also aligns with your personal value, I think it's definitely a good thing to do for you in that sense. So I don't think there is like a golden rule or a gold standard to this. I would say it depends on your personal values, it depends on your personal goal, but absolutely personal, our personal life, our family life, all other areas of our life do definitely influence our career decision. I hope I've been able to answer that question.
Fantastic.
Absolutely, you have. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. We're truly grateful for your perspective. Thank you so much once again. So we manage time. We'll just move on very quickly. And Elizabeth, this is for you. And I'm particularly interested in this question. I did not drop it, by the way, but I'm interested in the question. It says, what role does self-care play in your routine? And how do you ensure that it remains a priority amidst work pressure? A lot of us just run through the motion time and time again. You have deliverables to catch up with. And essentially, it just feels like you're playing catch up. You get back home, there's family. If you're into faith, there's religion, there are other deliverables. There's just so much pulling at you, in every direction. What would be your best advice to ensure that self-care remains a priority, amidst work and life simultaneously? Over to you.
She's the best person to answer this question. Soft life guide.
Only.
Listen, if it is important to you, you will make time for it. It's just, I don't know how. Yes, I don't know how else to explain it. If it is, sometimes people think self-care is selfishness. People think that when you prioritize yourself above certain things, you are being selfish. No. It's not selfishness. It's because this body that you carry needs to be in perfect shape for you to pursue anything. This body that you carry has to be stable enough for you to achieve the dreams and the visions and the career progressions and everything. Because if anything happens to it, it's finished. It's over. So that person who's asking that question, I would say to you, look at yourself. I already said you put your life on the table, get a pen and a paper, just put yourself in compartments and make time for you. Let me tell you something I used to do, and Mrs. Agyumbe can attest to this. Once a month, I make time for myself. It's very important. It doesn't matter what is happening in my life at that time, because I was so stressed out with myself and the things that was going on around me that I just realized that I was losing myself. I see a lot of people who sometimes were so enterprising, full of life, especially I'm going to from like single people transitioning into marriage and career. They just lose themselves. It's easy to lose yourself. When I discovered that about myself, I made up my mind that once a month, I was going to look after Elizabeth, me. Whether I had to go to the spa, whether I had to go take myself out, whether I had to go make my nails, I had to go make my hair. You see that thing that makes me, Elizabeth, just happy. It changed a lot of things around me because I started looking forward to spending time with myself. That was my way of having self-care for me. So you see, they call me Sunlight Gang. I am not ashamed to admit that I like the self-care. It's my way of
I'm telling you, this woman here has helped me find self-care on a new level.
Wow.
I'm going to say publicly. If you see me going to do my nails, just going to have a spa day, take a massage, this woman here has rubbed off for me. We all need it, guys. Sometimes it's okay to let your hair down.
Yes, sometimes it's just okay to be vain. Let me put it like that. It is okay to be vain. So for that person that is talking, asking this question, please ask yourself, what is that one thing that I can sacrifice 2 hours a month? Don't make it very big, because I know that there are deadlines and that sometimes you cannot control these deadlines. Sometimes you cannot control you can't control it. You can't control the pressure that comes with trying to grow many things. And you're saying, where do I put myself in all of this? It doesn't have to be 1 day. It doesn't have to be 20 hours. It could be 2 hours a day, 2 hours a week, 30 minutes a walk. If it is to get up in the morning and take a walk just by yourself, take a walk on your street. Just do something that makes you happy. That 1 hour, 30 minutes, if you do it consistently, you will just see that you will grow into trying to spend time with yourself. That is self-care. It's not one
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Thank you so much.
Can I add
Bidemi.
just a little breath on that?
Yes, you can.
I love that. I love the latter part of your point, how you want to simplify self-care. And I was just going to come up to say that in all of this, I think it's also important to balance this with delayed gratification and patience within life, because some people could interpret self-care to the extreme, right? And I love how you simplify, even if it's to take a walk, 30 minutes walk in the park, that works. She's not by any means saying take that resources that you don't have now and go burn out that resources at the spa.
No.
She's not saying don't care about other things that need to be in your life.
Your urgent 2K.
Yeah, go utilize all of your resources.
That's not what we're saying.
Exactly. That's why I love how you balance it with the fact that it doesn't have to be all about money. It doesn't have to be something so big. It could be just, just 30 minutes of meditation in the morning, just going out to catch up with friends. It does not have to, always be taking your rent. I mean, you won't even try that if you live in some location, because by the end of the month, you'll be kicked out of that apartment. I just wanted to add that to it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Korede, my personal mentor, this question, I knew it would come, because we have all started saying we are not trees. Yes, so we are not trees. We can move. We have been talking about it in the studio back end here, that if my mentor can unmove the tree, I can move as well. Bidemi, I know you'll be happy to hear that. We can move. So this question says, in a situation where you are not a tree, how do you move successfully without regretting your actions?
I asked that.
Oh, you've asked that already? Oh, fantastic.
I answered it already, but let me mention something. And it's while you were talking, it came to me. I did mention that it was very surprising when we had to move, and I told people, and there was a particular different conversations with different people. It was so bad that because everything wasn't like planned for a long time. In fact, we left our house with our personal belongings only. We had to go back to go and be sorting out other personal belongings. It wasn't like a very, very well planned thing. Number one, it was during COVID, and we were even planning to leave later before we started hearing that Nigerians cannot enter Canada again. We bought tickets from UK. They said now they banned UK again. We had to rush out of Nigeria because we had to be in a third country for 14 days before you could enter Canada. We had to rush out of Nigeria to Cote d'Ivoire to go and spend 14 days in Cote d'Ivoire before we could go. So it was really something. So in all of that, and eventually when the decision was made and all that, I couldn't really jump out and start telling people that we had moved. A whole lot of people, I heard from someone. It wasn't like I wasn't proud to do what I was going to do, but it was because there's some things you do you have to plan it, and you have to it has to be deliberate. It has to be where you want it to be before you start sharing it sometimes. It's if you want to do it, plan it, make sure you know what you're doing, assess yourself. Is that what you want for yourself? Somebody called me and said that when we told him that we had relocated, he's a very, very good friend of my husband, his wife in the UK. And he said that what? That he can't believe it. That you know what? Somebody called him and said they wanted to go back to Nigeria. And he was like, oh, go back to Nigeria. That I don't know. I haven't been in Nigeria in a while, but let me ask some friends of mine who have on different occasions. I know that they're never going to leave Nigeria. We usually say this Nigeria, it is us and the politicians. Eventually, this Nigeria will be good again. That's my mantra. That was my husband's mantra for many years. So he said that.
Oh, my mantra too.
Bidemi smile.
So let me check with them what's Nigerian terrain like again. And then this guy called and said, okay, now I'm in Canada right now. I'm not coming. I was like, how does he even go back to that person and say that if you people can move, what does it say to that person? So everybody's story is different. That's what I'm saying. In the same time that we were moving, some people went back to Nigeria. They found something. They checked what's going to mean for them particularly. The economy is not good. The economy is good. Forget all that story. All of this, people are checking what they need to do. I heard someone in the comments say something like, you said we should move. How do I move if I don't have money? I didn't say you should move. That was my decision. I initiated what I wanted for myself. If you do not have the cash, your location is very expensive, you know. If you do not have the cash and the wherewithal to do that, doesn't mean that you cannot do well where you are. So please don't let put that move. I've talked about technology and all that. We don't have any technology that when you press it now, it moves a tree from here to Europe. We still don't have it. It doesn't mean that your life will change overnight. We are still plan to move when you plan.
Oh my God!
Thank you so much.
Thank you
we
so
have
much,
questions coming in.
The questions are just rolling in.
Session, we mentioned that it's a packed and a loaded session. So it's been, I think we've had the most questions so far in this particular segment of the summit. And
so many questions.
So thankful. I'd just like to pick one from the live stream from Choma Goodness Adike, and Bidemi, I'll address this to you because you spoke particularly about how family is a very, very important priority for you. She said, as a newbie, I've watched how some CEOs use their workers as slaves with no time for their family. I want to be a career woman, and at some time, I am also family oriented. How can I manage these two things? Can you please help shed some light on that and how you've been able to manage it in your career journey and your transition?
Okay. So I love that question, and I think it's very important. And this will lead me to also touching a bit on some of the things that I couldn't say. I think at some point we all need to define that thing we call success, career success. We all need to come to a point where we need to define that and be very clear with that. I wouldn't consider, I wouldn't say career success, it's real success in itself when it impacts on your families and all other areas of your life. And again, this leads to, being able to define what that success means. Doesn't mean that you would, in as much as you can, press to the highest level of your career, doesn't mean that you would have to sacrifice at some point to go, in a different track that would help you to meet, that family commitment and that family obligation. And, there are like different ways to, going about this. So let me give you an example. So in developed, country like, in the US where we are, for example, there is a corporate world. There are other places where you could have, good career development and progress to, and as much as you want to. And I'll give you an example. So I work with, just like with Adeleye, I also work with government. So I work with the US government, one of the health agency. So in as much as this has placed me on a path where I can, develop my career to the extent I think I would love to, but then it gives me the opportunity to be able to balance all other parts of life, right? I was just smiling when we were talking about things like out of office and all of that. So in Nigeria, let me give you one example. In Nigeria, I usually would have, I think, 30 days of leave in the year. I can't remember over, like 8 years of working in the organization, anytime that I was able to take out all of the 30 days in the year. That's because you would need to explain why you need to take out 2 weeks, but these days I just, I feel like, I feel some kind of, pain in my shoulder. I'll just send an email. Nobody's asking me why I need to take out the leave that I've earned, right? So I'm saying all of this to say that there are other kind of establishment, there are other kinds of organization that would also provide you the opportunity to succeed career-wise, as against the other part that would give you that success, but you would have to sacrifice on other components of your life, right? So I think it's really dependent on the individual. If you think that by all means, this career success thing, when you achieve it, you would have lost your family, you will have lost your friends, you have lost a lot of other resources. I will reconsider what that means, if that is true success for me. So I think it starts by defining what success really means for you, and then be able to sacrifice some other part.
Wow. We've run out of time.
Can I just add to that?
Okay, Liz, you want to say something, please?
Yes. So, I think speaking from somebody who has, I think, understand the angle where she's coming from. I remember when we used to work in the bank, there was no explanation to leaving your job to go and do certain things. Nobody understands that. The most important thing was that you had your deliverables and you were meeting up your targets. And so a lot of families suffered. So I want to say to that lady or whoever's asking that question, there is
Hold on, Liz. There's a question here that I want to link to what your line of thoughts. And the person is saying, how do you communicate to your employers in Nigeria your personal needs while maintaining professionalism? So I think you're on the way of the question. Let me just put it there.
Okay. So sometimes, let's admit, it's difficult because you also need money to live this balanced life that we're talking about. Because you would without the money, there's no balancing anywhere. So it's sometimes difficult to explain some of these things. Well, you see, that is why I said you put life in compartments. There will be a time when, as you are growing, some things will suffer. However, when you have the opportunity to make up for that time, be there, show up for those things. It may not be all the time because some employers will never understand. That person that you are calling an employer also has his own struggles. If he doesn't pay you a salary at the end of the month, you would also have a problem with him. So he's also trying to meet up his own targets to keep his organization running so you can have a salary at the end of the month. So coming to always complain to him that the child is crying, my husband's leg is bent, I need to go and do self-care. He doesn't understand those things because profitability and balance sheet is what is important to him. Something about his own personal life is also suffering, he's also suffering for that organization to grow. And that's why sometimes you see them at a certain age, they don't have anybody, everybody has gone because they have told themselves building that career. They don't understand.
Wow.
So this is what I would say to that person. Then look for a support system that would help you. If you need to have, in Nigeria, you have, you can pay people sometimes to help you. Be nice to those people. Let them stay when you are not available. When you are at home, be present. Just do those things until you are able to get to a point where you can choose when to say yes or no. Sometimes life is just in stages. However, I want to admit that sometimes it can be difficult with certain employers. And that is why this summit is important, because we hope that we can begin to preach the gospel in Nigeria, that self-care, balancing these things, employers have to begin to understand the effect it has on their employers if there is no flexibility with working. Here in the UK, we have flexible working hours. I can choose to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I won't work the rest of the week. As far as I have completed my 40 hours, that is it. We don't have that culture back home. And so it becomes difficult. And then people begin to feel like some sort of slavery because...
Wow, thank you so much.
So it is just time.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I'm so grateful. Ms. Adeleye, in a few last words, this question is on the live stream as well. It says, thank you so much, Mrs. Adeleye. Please, ma, how can one streamline broad goals into specific tasks and objectives in a way that it doesn't become overwhelming and discouraging? And somebody is also asking if you could share your career acceleration plan template with us, as promised earlier. You have a few minutes to answer that so that we can end the live.
So that we don't get overwhelmed and it doesn't look like we have what we call SMART goals, right? We are all familiar with it. If you can look for any format of setting SMART goals online, usually you're talking specific, you're talking measurable, you're talking achievable, relevant to whatever you want to achieve, and there is a timeline to it. At the end of the day, they say, how do you eat an elephant? You break it into pieces, right? So if you have very big goals of achieving something in 10 years, now you're talking about what should I be doing in 5 years? What should I be doing in 1 year? What should I be doing in 6 years? And achievable, it must be achievable. I cannot want to lose and become 30 kg in 1 month. That's not going to happen. I've set myself up for failure already. So if you do it in such a way that you do it in tiny bits, that the thing about achievement is it helps you and spurs you on to achieve higher. The moment you're able to this tiny thing, achieve it, it's a kind of encouragement for you to go for the next one. And before you know it, you don't wait much more. So go big, dream big. We all do that. And another thing, this whole thing is a lot. It's a school. It's not a 2-day thing. We have what we call dreams, aspirations, dream goals, aspirations, objectives, and all that. They have differences. A dream is different from an aspiration. Some are like, okay, if I ever get there, I must do this, this. So I will break those into simple tasks that I want to transit, talking about what Bidemi talked about, to another career. And one of the things that needs to do is to get a PhD, to be able to lecture XYZ in the university. It will take me minimum 4 years. So am I going to say, if I don't achieve PhD, I'm not going to start thinking and learning and doing online 3 hours courses, certification courses, 2-day session like this, so that it's inching me more and more closer to where I want to be? So simplify. That's the only way. Big goals, bring them down to what you are able to kill right now, kill in 1 month, kill in 3 months, so that you step up like that. Thank you.
Wow. Can we celebrate our panelists tonight? They've done justice to all the questions.
Thank you so
Let's
much.
give it to them hot in the live stream. Thank you. We love you. From the Career Acceleration team, thank you for making our evening. Thank you for accelerating our career and being part of our journey. Let's show them some love in the chat room as we take it home tonight. Israel, what is your advice for every single one who has been part of the summit as we close out tonight? But don't leave the live stream. There's a video we're going to play as we take off out of the studio to take you into the night and get you accelerated. So don't leave, stay with us. Israel, what's your take?
I have found a new equation for success and acceleration in my life. It is information plus action equals acceleration.
Yes.
I'm going back to put every information that I've heard in this packed 2-day summit into actionable steps that I will begin to execute from today. And I'm very sure that I would return in the next 365 days.
Yes. CS 2025.
I can't wait. I feel when Elizabeth was speaking just a short while ago, I started having chills, and I'm like, is career acceleration so
it's over.
Just
it's
like
over.
that?
It's over.
I can't believe it.
It's over.
I feel like we should have one more day.
I'm exhausted. Work-life balance.
But hey,
catch the replay. Binge on it.
It's been phenomenal this past 2 days. It's been life-changing. And I want to say thank you to the CEO of Kansing Consult, Mr. Falake Agubiade, and the convener of the Career Acceleration Summit, Thank you so much to all our partners and our sponsors, to our in-house volunteers, and to you joining us from across the world, wherever you're joining from. We would like to say a very, very big thank you. We have all worked together. Without our community and our collaboration and respective efforts, it would not have been possible to make this Career Acceleration Summit a huge success. So we should all give ourselves a big hug and a round of applause, like love on yourself and give yourself a warm hug and say you have done well. Now move on from now and put those actionable steps into practice and watch your career take a flight. Thank you once again from me to you.
From me, I would say keep accelerating.
Yes.
Keep winning.
Yes.
Because winning looks amazing on you. See you next year at Career Acceleration 2025. Media team, let's take out.
Evening, or good morning, good afternoon, good evening, from any part of the world that you're watching this. My name is Titi Ojo, and I'll be taking the session on effective job search techniques in a competitive market. Who am I? Who is Titi Ojo? I am the Executive Director and CEO at A+ Trainers Limited, the team lead. I'm a Certified Project Management Professional, PMP. I'm a licensed National Business Development Services provider. I'm an accredited management consultant and trainer. I'm an export coach for those that know me. I've been in this sector also for some time, international trade, and I've supported SMEs through training and coaching to get them to become experts. And of course, I am a distinguished a public speaker, a communications coach as well. You can read more about that at www.titiojo.com. That is my profile. My official profile is on this website. And thank you for visiting. Now, let's jump right into the business of today. We need to succeed as job seekers. There's a need to succeed in a competitive job market. And I need to say this. Why is the job market competitive? It's competitive for two reasons. To me, I put them in two boxes. The first being that recruiters are looking for the best hands to do the job. And so it's competitive in the first, just like that, it is competitive. We want to recruit the best hands. We want to recruit those that can do the job because it's about the bottom line. Every organization wants someone that can do the job. And that is why we have to headhunt those that will do that job. So the competition is already there. So you're competing with others with your kind of degree, your kind of certification, and you need to stay ahead of that. Secondly, the job market is competitive because the number of jobs available at time is not even sufficient for those looking for the jobs. Imagine how many graduates are churned out from our tertiary institutions every year and how many job openings actually are available those years. Imagine if we churn out 15,000 graduates every year and the jobs available are just 3,000. And then it's stiff getting those that will do the job. So please, I want you to pay attention because I'm talking about strategies and techniques you need to apply to succeed in this marketplace. So let me start with your resume and cover letter. You need to tailor your resume and cover letter to the kind of job that you are looking for, you're applying for. Customize your resume and cover letter for each application. I see those making that mistake. The same CV you've created since you graduated is the same CV you use anytime you need to submit that CV. It doesn't look like that. You need to keep reviewing and revising your CV
to suit the job you're applying for. And in that CV, highlight your skills and experiences. Use keywords, because the organizations that have put out this job adverts, they have a whole lot coming in after those kind of adverts. Imagine an organization gets about 300,000 CVs or resumes or cover letters. They won't read one by one. They will sift through the submissions using an applicant tracking system. And it's keywords that will identify those resumes or cover letters that need to pay attention to. So use terms that have been used even in the job listing to optimize your resume. Very important. And then when you're talking about your achievements in your resume, please use numbers that showcase your impact, because numbers speaks volumes. For example, through your effort, you increase sales by 20%. Or I manage a team of 20. It actually paints the picture clearly to whoever is reading your CV. The second is leverage online platforms. Maintain a professional LinkedIn profile with strong headlines. Your detailed experience, your active engagement with industry-related content is very important. In fact, some of you don't know that these days, many organizations don't even tell you to send a PDF version of your CV or resume. There are also options of applying with your LinkedIn profile as your resume. So LinkedIn is now your online resume. So you have the option of even just clicking to say that is what you want to use for the application, rather than sending in a Word version, a PDF version. Let us find you on your online platforms, doing what you do best. Let us have a digital footprint that speaks to your strengths and what you do. All right. And then, of course, set up specialized job search engines so that when alerts around these jobs come, it gets to you. Don't miss it. It's very important. Number 3, refine your personal brand. First, your personal brand speaks through your professional online presence. So ensure that your social media profiles reflect your professionalism. Okay? Don't use your social media to just be bantering about irrelevant things. It's not talking about what's going on with progress. No way. Focus. Focus on building your professional profile online and what you can do, your skills profile, what you're able to do, share insights, write articles, engage in relevant discussions related to your industry. If possible, build a website, build a portfolio on any of these online platforms that you want to use. That showcase what you are about, your work, the success is what you can do. You might be looking for a job and yet be doing things really that speaks to who you are. As simple as being a secretary in your estate where you live. It shows that you have leadership skills. There are so many things that we do not count like necessary or important to our personal brand, but it speaks. I tell you. So learn that. Refine your personal brand. Little things you do that tells about who you are, what you are as a person. Showcase them on your website, on your social media profiles. Talk about it. If today you were a rapporteur at an event, write it there that you were a rapporteur at an event. It shows that you can write. If you led a conversation, write it there that you led a conversation about youth restiveness in your community. It tells that you're someone that cares about social causes. So refine your personal brand. Number 4, attend industry events. And don't even say you don't have money to go there. You don't have to go to every industry event, but look for the industry event that aligns with where you're headed. Attend job fairs, because in job fairs, you see those that are looking for staff or looking for employees. And many people have found jobs going to job fairs. Networking events, meet people, and learn to network is very key. Because when you attend industry events, you must learn to communicate. You must learn to walk up to someone, break the ice. You must learn that. Learn to talk to people. Learn to speak about what you do. That's what you do at industry events. Ask for their card. Take something along to exchange for that card. Create a little card about yourself. A little business card, your name, and a few things, your contact. Take it with you. Network. Don't be afraid to talk to big people at industry events. No, we are all humans after all. Connect with employers. Connect with recruiters, face to face. They are there at the industry events, and if it's an online event, connect with recruiters as well. They all come for these industry events. Make up your mind before you set out from your house, what you want to achieve. And I think that's where we miss it sometimes. You're attending an industry event and you have not planned well for it. Plan well for it. Tell yourself, today I'm going to meet 5 people. I will sit and observe. I'll make sure I talk to a recruiter. So you are looking, that's part of proactivity. I'm visiting some stands, picking some company profiles, looking through those company profiles, writing them an email. This is important. Plan. You don't just attend for the sake of showing up or showing up. Attend because you're going there to get information. You're going there to make contacts. You're going there to network with people. And you're not doing that just for the sake of doing so. You want to leverage what you get from that event. Number 5, prepare for interviews. This is another Achilles heel that I've seen. You have someone going for an interview, he has not researched the company, he knows next to nothing, just jumps up and goes for the interview. He sits on the panel and they're asking him questions about the company. So you are sitting here listening to this. When you are going for an interview, research the company, understand their culture, their products and services, where they've worked. If there's anything about them in the news, read about it. Be prepared to discuss also about how you can add value to the organization, demonstrate your fit through your skills and experiences and values. Let them see that you're a fit for the job. Practice common interview questions before you even leave. Questions like, tell me about yourself. That has been one question that people have not been able to answer from time immemorial. Someone asks you, what are your strengths and weaknesses? And you begin to wonder what exactly. So prepare for interviews. Prepare with common interview questions. Number 6, consider temporary or freelance work. Now, I need to make this clear. Many young people today will tell you, I'm not going to do anything that does not pay me. But you know what? You are building up your personal profile when you offer to do some jobs without being paid. And that could be freelance roles. Sometimes someone will tell you that we're not having full-time staff, we're not actually employing, but we want those that can come in on contract, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month. It's time. You're not doing anything, right? Take up contract roles, contract jobs. I tell you that the time you spend, those 3 months, spend it proving that you can do the job. I've worked in an organization where we had about 6 staff on contract, and it was meant to be 6 months. Today, 5 of them got a permanent placement, and they've been working there since. And I'm telling you, it's not 5 years, it's probably 7 years by now. Freelance roles. Take on those roles. You're also building your own portfolio. So when you're writing about yourself in your CV, you can say you served as this in a particular organization. This was the role that you played. It adds up to your personal profile. Temporary jobs helps you to put your foot in the door. It helps you to build connections within those organizations. People will put a voice. There'll be a voice for you when the real deal comes. I remember I was working on a defeat project, and the daughter of one of our drivers where I worked before, the father called me and said he wanted the lady to work with me. He was particular about that. He wanted me to mentor her. I wanted her to work with me. And I called her in and said, you know what, give me your CV. I was heading a particular work stream. And at that point, I felt I needed an intern. So I gave her the internship role. She brought a CV. I looked through it. I even worked with her, asking her questions, some things she did not even know I liked about her skills. I had a conversation. I said, you didn't like this in the CV. You're good in administration. You're good in managing people. You're good in organizing. But it's not in your CV. So she did all of that. Long and short, she got the role of intern. And the internship was to last for 3 months. But do you know, January of the next year came. There were opportunities to do more work. Everybody on that project said we had to keep her. And then somebody called me one day and said, they're going to get a particular role was opening up. And the person said, I think this lady should be able to fit in because they've seen her work in the last 6 months. 3 months officially for the internship, 3 months by extension, and then a role was coming up. And everybody was saying, she's the one to take that thing. And I tell you, she got that role. And that role was in finance. She was just fresh from university. She started that role with 650,000 per month. I'm telling you, temporary positions, freelance roles and all that, you'll be shocked how it opens the door for you. So don't turn such down. While you're waiting, why not get busy really? Think about it. Number 7, use referrals. Many companies give preference to candidates who come to internal referrals. So if I tell you, oh, you need someone to man the front desk, I can say, oh, I have someone that can do that. And I'm saying that because I know you can. So I always say this, that your reputation, build your character. Because when it comes to referrals, people would stand in or stand up for whoever they know can do the job and can do it well. While you're waiting, build your character, build your integrity, your reputation amongst people. Because friends and family, professional connections. You will leverage them at some point. But many would not put in the name of anyone that they cannot trust down for anything. So prove yourself. And when it comes to someone referring you for a particular job opening, they will do it with all pleasure. Number 8, upskill and reskill. Take online courses, take advantage of courses online to gain new skills that align with new market demands. Stay updated with industry trends. And I'm going to talk about this. You know what kind of industry you want to work with. So you need to keep up with that industry. Attend webinars, attend their events, be well informed, okay? And as you're doing that and you're building capacity, you're also building networks. You're building your clouds. Really, if you ask me, that's what you're doing. Stay updated because it's going to work for you when it comes to job search or job hunting. Upskill and reskill. Stay organized and consistent is the last, which is number 9. Being organized will mean that while you're looking for these jobs, keep track of your job applications, including your submission date, follow-on emails, the responses you're receiving. You can use spreadsheets for that. You can use an Excel sheet. You can use Microsoft Word, but I would always suggest that you use Excel. Keep track so that you can monitor as well. You can follow up. When you keep track, then you can follow up. You're not guessing, oh, where was I last week? No, you have it written somewhere. Submit those applications. You attended an interview, someone said something. Take note of those things. It's very important. You have to be deliberate. You have to be intentional. And then you can follow up with an email. I realized, and this has happened, someone came for an interview that was on the panel, and after a few weeks, the person contacted me just to find out how far with this, and also asked some good questions that I liked. He asked me, what do you think I could do better in terms if I'm going for another job interview? What do you think were my flaws in this one? Where do you think I could improve? And I answered his questions because he asked. And I was able to provide some insights. And in fact, it was quite interesting because he said he had even sent some emails and I hadn't gotten responses. And I had to also speak to the organization that this person had sent you an email and you have not even responded. And it's important to also respond to those that apply for jobs in our organizations. This shows initiative and professionalism. You send a polite email, you reiterate your interest. It shows initiative and professionalism. Be organized and consistent. And I want to wrap up. I'm wrapping up right now. Maintain a positive mindset. And I'm saying this because job searching can be very stressful and time-consuming. But while it lasts, learn from rejections. Keep refining your approach. And many times when you come back to the drawing table, you realize, oh, okay, maybe I could do this better next time. In the course of studying, in the course of attending job fairs, in the course of doing all the things I've mentioned earlier, you would realize that you might be getting some insights. Come back to the drawing table, refine your approach, and launch forward again. So keep a positive mindset. Be around people that would encourage you. Be around people that would encourage you, and I mean it, that will support your journey in this job search, that would encourage you and tell you not to give up. And even while you're at it, they can support you so that your mental health is intact. It's very important because I tell you, job search can be stressful. My final note is you wouldn't know where to start your search if you're looking for a random job or looking for anything and everything. It doesn't work like that. If you're looking for anything and everything, then how do you search? It's like jack of all trades and master of none. It's like throwing everything out and not being able to catch anyone. It's as simple as that. You need to know where to focus your energy. And that's why you must be purposeful. Purposeful for me would mean, what is even my purpose? Who am I? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? And what aligns with that? What is the job I would love doing? I will enjoy doing. So know yourself. Be purposeful. Finding purpose in life is very important. And it applies to your job search. Being purposeful also helps in your job search. Be goal-oriented. What kind of job do you want? What kind of career do you want to build? Be goal-oriented about the career you want to build. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? In the next 10, in the next 30 years? What kind of career do I want to build? Set that goal for yourself, and that helps you. Through purpose, your goals are also defined. And be proactive. I've talked about this earlier. Be always ahead of yourself if possible. Pick things information here and there and act on them. That's being proactive. Pick up that phone call. That's being proactive. Send an email. That's being proactive. Working on an information that just got to you through an industry event and sitting down to study certain things. It is being proactive. Building your skill, upskilling and reskilling, even before the job comes, is being proactive. So never forget this final note, PGP. Be purposeful, be goal-oriented, be proactive. If that's all you're taking away, now you start from here and look back on everything we've talked about in the last 10 slides. And I wish you all the best. Because if you apply these techniques or apply these strategies, it's going to get you somewhere. I can tell you that for free. Thank you for being part of this class. And I'm hoping and hoping truly that you make use of these things. And at the end of the day, you'll be better for it. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.